T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Welcome to Trap Talk Reptile Podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, baby. Episode 416. What is good, everyone? I'm your boy, MJ. But seriously, happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. It's a beautiful Thanksgiving evening. I really hope everyone had a good time or is having a good time with their loved ones or anyone important to them. But what a time to be thankful. I know I'm thankful. Thankful for many reasons. Thankful for everyone who comes and supports this channel. Okay, no matter where you listen to Trap Talk Reptile Podcast, either on YouTube or on all the audio platforms like Apple, Buzzsprout, Spotify. Thank you so much. Appreciate it so much. Thank you for spending your life with me and enjoying the ride as we continue on the journey and just bringing the best of the best to this platform and just talking about what we love, and that's the reptiles, because it's all about the reptiles. And if you are into keeping reptiles or into learning about them or just overall admiring them, then hit that subscribe button. Okay, almost at 10,000 subscribers. I'm really excited to hit this milestone that I've had for a while. But either way, if you want to help me get to 10,000, it would really mean a lot if you hit that subscribe button and then hit that notification bell if you want to be notified about every podcast I drop here every week. I drop 3 podcasts a week. Monday, New Breeder on the Block series. Tuesday, All Up in the Tree series, which is just all dedicated to reptiles that live high up in the trees or in a tree, or just likes to be in trees. And then Thursday nights, the main nights, the big nights, the night that put Trap Talk on. Thursday nights belong to the trap. We all know that. So anyways, guys, appreciate everyone hanging out with me. Got a guy, Kyle Hoffman, coming on the show tonight. From what I know, has done major work with ball pythons. So yeah, we're going to be talking to my boy Kyle in just a bit. I do want to say, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you want to get more out of what you see on every podcast, if you want to get more behind the scenes, more VIP type status, then go down to the very first link in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Shout out to all my Patreon members. I love you guys. You guys are my heart. But yeah, join the Patreon family. Get a link to the Discord. Tap in with over 185 trappers. Then you get connected to the IG group chat that is also cracking. Either way, what a way to network yourself around people who are really dedicated to the reptiles, really relevant people, a part of the Patreon family, and I respect and love every single one of you. Definitely growing by the day. So shout out to my Patreon members. You guys are my hot. And then every Sunday, you get together with the V Unit family, face-to-face hangout sessions on Zoom. So come really get to know each other better, talk to each other face-to-face. Let's see how weeks are going and who's ready for the upcoming breeding season. We talk about it all, man. But really, it's about you guys on Sundays. So come hang out. Come join the family. Shout out to my dog, Big E, Top G, the V Unit family. Appreciate all you guys. But yeah, shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to US ARC. Please go down to the very second in the link in the description below. Click on it. Learn about US ARC if you're not sure what US ARC is. But thank you. If you support US ARC, shout out to Phil Goss. Shout out to the entire US ARC team. Do you want to say tonight's episode is brought to you by the Reptile Breeder Show, holiday Reptile Breeder Show, happening December 9th, right around the corner. Vendors sold out. It's going to be epic. Go to reptilebreedershow.com, set an RSVP, and then you get in for free, which is awesome. All right, you're definitely gonna find me there, along a lot of other relevant players, but definitely wide range of reptiles, amphibians, spiders, you name it. Bunch of cool shit gonna be going down at the Reptile Breeder Show, December 9th in downtown Los Angeles. Address is right there. Shout out to Ship Your Reptiles, one of the sponsors of the show, and I cannot wait to see what this is all about. The more shows, the better. The West Coast needs more reptile shows, but they need them right, you know, because guess what? The Reptile Super Show, #1 show in the country. Definitely shout out to the Reptile Super Show. Shout out to Rami. Pomona's right around the corner. I'm already starting to talk to people who are getting stuff organized as far as flights and all that. But man, it is about to go down. Reptile Super Show happening in January. Go to Reptile Super Show on Instagram. Follow Reptile Super Show and come see what it's all about. It's about to go down, man. I'm telling you right now, I'm super stoked. Shout out to Rami. Shout out to the entire Reptile Super Show team. Also tonight, brought to you by my boy Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. It's my dog right here, man. For me, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, ball python breeder, hands down. I'm probably saying that too because he's my really good friend. But either way, it's my boy Mark Bailey. His production's top tier for sure. Head over to Morph Market, type in Mark Bailey Reptiles, see what he has available, and definitely you could catch Mark Bailey at Pomona Reptile Super Show. You feel me? It's about to go down. Also, want to say shout out to Clutch. If you're getting into this, man, and organization is something you like to have a part of your game plan, or if you need help getting organized, either way, Clutch is where it's at. Anyone into the ball python game, adding really exciting stuff that they're looking forward to working with in the future, input this shit into Clutch, and you have a lot to look forward to, man. All color-coded on different things that you want to have labeled, but it's awesome. This is the future. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to the entire Clutch team, the homie Sebastian. Big things coming. Follow them on Instagram and get Clutch. Yes, thank you so much. All right, guys, early birds. Who's here? Who's ready to rock and roll? Super stoked. If you're hanging out with us on this beautiful Thanksgiving evening and in the live chats, don't be shy with the super chat. If you got a super chat you want to drop or a topic or whatever, man, drop it in the super chats. Let's go. Who's here tonight? Who's ready to rock? Windy City Morphs. What's good, player? Chicago in the building. Thanks for tapping in. The homie Justin Campbell in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Appreciate you so much. Jaffe Exotics in the building. One of my favorite Canadians ever to be a part of the reptile game. Appreciate you so much, Jaffe. It's the homie. Kaju Constrictors in the building. What's up, player? HB Reptiles, my homie Herbert. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Adrian Blue in the building. Happy Thanksgiving, my man. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homegirl Krista, Neurophi Exotics in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member, V-Unit family all day, every day. Travis Gordon in the building. TNS Reptiles, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Bone Daddy Serpents, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Appreciate you so much. Mediocre Serpents, my homie JD, the young player. Colubrid Corruption. Be ready on that podcast every Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Do not miss that podcast. All right, the up-and-comer right there. Trap Talk Patreon member, V-Unit family all day, every day. Brian Heathen Hatchery, my dog right there. Trap Talk Patreon member, V-Unit all day, every day. My homegirl Chantel, day one homegirl right there. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, homegirl. 217 Pythons on me. Will, another Chicago hitter in the buildings. My dog, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Another hitter, Flex in Texas. My boy, man, Freddie. Appreciate you so much, dog. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. V-Unit family. MCBR, which stands for Man-Tooth Captive Bred Reptiles. All right, that's tight. Man-Tooth. Appreciate you so much for being here. Hell yeah. The homie James, All City Serpents, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Appreciate you. Let's see. Heartland Reptiles in the building. What is good? Appreciate you so much. No Limit Pythons. What's up, No Limit Pythons? Appreciate you so much. Big Mike, 1776 Exotics, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Homie Brock in the building, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. V-Unit family all day. The V-Unit family, my boss, my dog, Big E. Villarino, Top G right there in the building. Thank you so much for being here. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Appreciate you, homie. Julio Fulio in the building, fresh off of surgery. What a guy. Glad you're out of surgery, bro. I'm glad you're safe. This is my dog right here. Julio Fulio, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. And I'm super stoked you're done with that, bro. Tony B in the building. What's good? All right. And listen, we're going to end this in style because Lenny is very player. Underrated. I know this is not the first time I've heard this, by the way. I'm going to read Lenny's comment. All right. Hands down, the most underrated breeder in the game. Kyle's collection is insane. Not the first time I've heard that. But Lenny's a real one. And Lenny keeps it real. I also think Lenny's underrated on many different levels as well. His comedian level should be top tier. He's funnier than shit, but either way, we're ending it and stop my man, Demonic Reptiles. Lenny, appreciate you. Guys, let's go. It's Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for all of you guys tapping in from my man, Kyle, Ambassador Royal Reptiles, but it's going down. Let's do it. Do what you got to do to get your mind right. Do what you got to do to stay hydrated. Episode 416. Kyle Hoffman, Royal Ambassador Reptiles coming at you right now on this glorious Thanksgiving evening. Let's go. Gee.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
All right, episode 416. We're live with Kyle Hoffman. What's up, Kyle?
Not much. I just wanted to see if everything was working here. I didn't know when you were going to add me in, or like I said, I never did this before, so I don't know how nothing works.
Remember, I told you when
You
you hear
know.
the music. I told you when you hear the music playing, that's the indicator after it's over.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes you just don't listen, you know.
I know you're good, man. What's good? How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for hanging out tonight.
Pretty good, you know. I didn't do anything with family today because my parents went to friend's house and my sisters, they all went to their in-laws, so I just kind of fed snakes all morning. That's what I did, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, doing a podcast on a holiday evening is like kind of like, you know, it's weird because a lot of people are dedicated to doing their stuff, but
you might have more people in here because you don't have people that would normally be off to be able to, or they got, you know, during the week they got stuff going on, where today it was kind of a free day for everybody.
I just don't miss Thursday nights. You know, if it's on a Thursday night, no matter what, I'm doing it. And I've done. I think it's my third Thanksgiving episode I've done. But either way, like I said, I'm stoked to have you finally on.
Yeah,
I think you and I kind of went back and forth maybe over a year ago or whatnot about you coming on the show.
Yep.
And then, you know, whatever, things happened and time went by, but here we are. And I know you've been around for a while from what I've heard from other people. And I've only heard good things as far as like, you know, as far as you're tenured in here, how long you've been in here, but I'm curious to hear it from you. Like,
I mean, I've, to be honest, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
I've seen it all. You know, I was basically, you know, getting into like the whole thing. You know, I got some magazines and I went to a couple reptile shows when I was like 17 years old.
Right.
But, you know, I've seen the albino, you know, the albinos came in like 91. I was a little bit after, you know, I graduated in 2001. So right around 1999 is when I kind of was getting the magazines and going to a few reptile shows and that. And I didn't get my first snakes until about 2002, I think.
So a year after high school, you got it. That's when you got your first snake.
Yes.
And how expensive was that snake? What snake was
it?
It
Was an albino. It was $2,500. And I went to the Tinley show and I bought it in cash. And the dudes, you know, I worked on a farm since I was like 13 years old, milking cows and stuff. So this, you know, the guy, I give him the money and he was kind of tripping, you know, thinking, oh yeah, you know, they're watching us, you know, you can't be walking around with that much cash and all that. But I mean, it was an albino and believe it or not, you know, that snake didn't even breed until it was 6 years old. And I fed it. It just was a picky eater, you know.
It was a female, obviously, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, let's start with you in 2002, like being a kid, basically still having the balls to drop. No, because I mean, dude, that's a lot of money to. I'm like probably a couple years younger than you. I graduated 2003. So I know dropping money, $2,500 back then on anything is like, that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So what was the influence? Like, was it because you've been going to shows and just paying attention, or what made you want to drop that money on that snake?
I've had, I can tell you this story. When I was like 10 years old or 8 to 10 years old, I can't remember exactly, but there was a book at school and I stole it. I'll admit it. I stole the book, on how to breed turtles and all that. And when I was 13 years old, I actually put turtles through brumation and I got eggs out of them and I hatched some turtles and everything. But then as I got a little bit older is when when I started to look at the snakes, and the care was easier. With turtles, you got to have water changes and you got to do all this stuff. So I kind of migrated to snakes because it was just a little bit easier. And like I said, working on the farm, I mean, I seen, I thought, man, I can't believe these people are breeding these animals and making money on these things. I thought I thought it was a big joke, at first. And then I started researching and seeing it and seeing the different types of stuff coming in out of Africa. I had the original.
Kyle, were you looking at price lists? Like, were you able to see what people were selling snakes for and shit?
Oh yeah, like Brian Sharp. I remember. I don't have his price list anymore, but there was no internet back then, so they just had these papers with every species and if there was ball pythons. I think the pieds were out at that time, hypos were out, and albinos. I think at that time that was about it. And I think in 2003 maybe is when they actually started selling the pastels and like the spiders and stuff. I think that started in about 2003.
So so after the initial $2,500 purchase, like how soon did you get the mail? Like how soon was it about the breeding? Like, or was it just about that snake you wanted so bad?
I just wanted an albino at first. I never really kind of was looking into breeding so much.
Right.
But then I bought that albino and then I'm like, well, man, I'm going to buy a pied. I didn't, and with that being said, I bought the pied, but then I ended up breeding that pied to normals to get hepides before I could even breed that albino. And I think that snake, 2002. So in 2007, I think, and in 2008, that female albino I bred to that pied 2 years in a row. She gave me 9 eggs each time, but the sex ratio was absolutely horrible. I got 6 males and 3 females 2 times in a row, but I sold them all. And what I did was the lavender albino came out then, and it was out already. But then I was able to. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to work with albino. I'm going to work with lavender albino. So I sold all that albino stuff and I just picked up the double het lavender pieds. And then in 2014, which was almost 10 years ago now, I hatched my first dreamsicles already way back then.
Okay. And, selling the stuff back then was not an issue. Like, when you had to get rid of something due to just not needing it in a holdback situation.
Oh, man. It ain't like today, man. You put some good stuff up and it's gone. It was gone. It was days and it was gone.
Right. Now, you said you've seen it all, but are we talking the ups and downs in the market as well? Have you seen fucking just drops? I mean, as far as what it's doing right now, everyone said it's extra because of COVID, but the slashes, the 50% off, the buy one, get 3 fucking 4 free, whatever. This shit, has it been this crazy?
I don't think it's been this crazy, but it's been, I mean, we all know people do backdoor wholesale deals and all that kind of thing. So we don't, that's been going on since the beginning of time where, people say they got the snakes for $25K, but they're selling them for 20 behind closed doors. We all know, nobody's, anybody that's been in a game long enough has, they know that stuff has been going on, but it's never been this bad where, I've even heard stories of people having lower end snakes at shows and they're giving them to a wholesale type person that distributes to pet stores and everything else because they just can't sell their animals.
For anyone right now in the panic mode, slashing their prices because they can't sell, I mean, is it just something that you feel like it's lack of experience is why they're doing that? as far as just not knowing that we're in a place where everything goes up and down. And, I don't think a lot of people are ready for this down moment is down at it. And it's not over, obviously. I think we have a couple more years of it, or a year of it at least,
To be honest with you, I've been doing okay. I actually been doing pretty well.
Right.
And it's because of me having all these long-term projects that I've worked on for so long.
Right.
And been able to, I have stuff that not everybody has out there. There's maybe 4 or 5 other people. So it's been okay for me. I think really right now, I think my biggest thing would be if people are making a bunch of females and they have these projects, what's wrong with holding on to those snakes?
Yeah.
If you can't get your full price, as a small time breeder, I would say, not like a big 300-400 clutch type person, because they can't keep everything. That's just inevitable. And they also have a big overhead where, like me, I'm a one-man show. I got my rodent operation. I got a couple helpers with that, but I don't have any like full-time 40-hour-a-week employees, and I think that's a big thing too, is people getting too big and then there's other breeders too that they're not raising their own rodents. They're literally buying them, and the prices of grain keep going up and everything else is going up, and the snakes seem to just keep sliding back.
Right. Now, obviously what I'm saying is a lot of people spent recklessly at a point to get to this point where they need some sort of return. I think the biggest misleading.
I didn't make a return for 10 years. I mean, come on, be real with it. These people out here saying, oh, I want to return in 3 years. I mean, yeah, you're going to get some money, but you're not, you spend a $250K or $300K. That's not going to come in 3 to 5 years. You're going to be looking at a 10-year return on that.
Right. And that's if you stick it out, I don't think people have like the grunt in them to stick shit out and just be able to just not sell something, because also too, a lot of people have to play with the space game. A lot of people they don't have the fucking room in their racks, and they're just like, and they obviously, here's the thing. One thing I love that you said is if you're in a place where you're working for the future, like if your projects are all future projects, you're always going to be in a good place because you're always going to be ahead. You'll be ahead to where it doesn't make sense to even sell something if it's not worth selling, because it's going to be something futuristic either way. So just hold on to it, right? But but the space could be something that catches up to a lot of these double, triple recessive type scenarios. You know what I mean? And
100%, because you got to have, I mean, to be honest with you, going into that, we're going into the doubles and triples now. And to be honest, like I did 8 clutches for hypoclown-pides this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I bred a double visual het to a visual double hets, all of them, no triple hets. And I only hit 3 of them out of 8 clutches. So you got a lot of animals involved in these projects. And in order to produce like enough of them for the demand that's out there for these, you got to have room. You got to have room. I mean, and I've seen a lot of people too make some of these animals and they sell the first ones they make. Well, I just ain't gonna do that,
Why is it that you think that some people have better luck investing in hets than other people do?
I mean, man, it's just a lottery. We're all playing the lottery out here, really. Yeah. I mean, I bred a dreamsicle to a double het and I got 9 eggs and I ended up getting 10 babies and I got a pair of twin dreamsicles in the egg. I mean, it just, some stuff goes your way and some stuff doesn't. And unfortunately, some people, including myself, a lot of things have not really went in my favor as far as breeding and getting the animals as fast as you can,
Yeah. Were you ever a part of, because obviously you're saying you've seen it all, but were you a part of that pretty thick chapter of people just getting sold fake hets at some point? Like,
I got sold some fake hets way back in the day. Het albinos for like $1,500 a piece, and I was like 19 years old at the time, so they were robbing me basically,
how'd you adjust for, like, how does somebody come back from something like that at a young age? Like, and also not being discouraged, because I mean, that's a bummer situation, but
I had a guy 3 years ago take $20K from me for rodent RHACS and never gave it to me. And you know what I do? I just, you know what? I mean, by the time he was out of state, I would have had to hire a lawyer. By the time I would have had the lawyer taken care of, probably flying out there, all the talks, paying for that. I just keep it moving. I
don't need names, but is that guy still around? And is he like just going in shows and being normal, or what's going on?
No, he's not around anymore.
That's good. I wouldn't be surprised if he is, because it's one thing that I've come across so much in this hobby is people who've done really terrible things, but they're just like, there they are. Like not like just let it go. And I'm talking like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 deals that they owe and just money owed. And it's kind of like, I get it. It's a bigger man thing to just what it is, but there's just a lot of those stories, and it's just like,
my biggest thing is, regardless of this market, of your projects, of anything, if you love it, you're gonna do it. You're gonna keep going. You don't quit, and that's kind of where I have been. And you just don't stop. You can't let anybody discourage you. You can't let anybody get in your head. Even the market right now, we're in a lull, and it is what it is, and we just got to keep moving.
So let's kind of talk about the stuff that you concreted yourself in as far as projects that really kind of help you take off. Like, obviously albino was a staple for what we're about to talk about. But let's kind of talk about when social media started picking up. And what were some of the things that you were just kind of sitting on and just really working towards?
Man, to be honest with you, I'm not like I'm more like Mark Bailey in a way that I don't, I go on to social media, but I'm not one of these guru people that's all got the YouTube, got the Facebook.
You're low key, bro. You're low key, but I respect it though. I like people like that.
I started out with the albinos, and then I sold the albinos, and I got hypo way back in like 2000 and probably 4 or 5. I got some hypo stuff, and that kind of was, I have a lot of hypo, and a lot of people really, for a long time, they kind of shit on it per se. I mean, it wasn't so great, and
that's crazy, bro. Because like I've always, regardless, just said, you know what, I like this because what it looks like, and this is when everyone was jocking the shit out of DG. And I had moments, like I said on the show, like, man, maybe I did something wrong, but I was like, but now, dude, now look at hypo. Hypo, it's a force to be reckoned with, and you can't talk no shit about hypo right now. Are you kidding me?
No, I think there's a lot of potential with it yet.
Right.
Still, we got some things out here, but some of the crazy combos that are out here aren't even done in hypo yet, and I think we're gonna see a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so everyone, please go follow my man Kyle, Royal Ambassador Reptiles on IG. And I love Stranger, man. I'm a huge Stranger guy. Very untapped, incomplete dominant, I feel like. But here we are talking about it with hypo and clown involved. This was hatched out 10 weeks ago. You haven't posted any updated photos of the snake yet?
No, I actually sold that one. It was a male. And I already produced
what did it sell for? I'm so sorry, I have to ask. What did this sell for?
Like 8,000, right around 8,000. I mean, and I sold two 2 years ago. I made them already.
2 years ago?
I made them 2 years ago.
What?
Yeah, I sold 2 pastel hypo stranger. I sold. Let me think. I sold one pastel hypo stranger clown and one regular pastel hypo stranger clown and one regular hypo stranger clown 2 years ago. The first ones I made, I kept a pastel, and that's what produced those babies. And then that man tooth, he's actually picked up a female from me that was about 1,000 grams. I just decided to sell her, and because I can move forward with the male just as fast. I wouldn't necessarily be able to do some things, but I'm also at the point too where sometimes it's okay to sell these animals and maybe buy one back from your customer and share that money back, and work together. And that's one thing a lot of people you know, in the business, I don't see a lot of that where people will
Oh.
buy back from their
They're
customers.
they're so like, it's like they're so insecure about getting passed up or whatever reason. It doesn't make sense. Like you by working with somebody, it just gives you more power to get further, but also you have someone that's almost investing with you as well. And you're right, you got to give back to that person. I'm so glad you brought this up. This makes all the sense in the world. But dude, people are so insecure. They don't want, it's a competition. They don't want to be passed up, especially if it's somebody who's been in here longer than someone else. And, you know, mind you, there's levels into this. You know how people come into this in different, you know, different bankrolls. Like some people come in slow, some people come in hard. And, you know, some people, no matter what, just don't want to get passed up. And that's how it is. It's a competition thing with themselves and everything else. And so
the biggest thing, you know? The biggest thing with that being passed up is if you keep putting the work in and you continue to do the work, it's almost that they're not going to pass you up.
Right.
You know, if you really work hard and you believe in the projects that you're working on, you know, they can't pass you up. And a big thing, you know, I see all kinds of people out there right now with the, I'll say it, with the DG project. I mean, I sat on Morph Market one night, you know, you just had Justin on here, and I said the 30,000 ball pythons under $500 and under, you know, and there's about 75 DG clowns on Morph Market right now. There's probably, this is in the United States market. I only looked in the United States market. I didn't do Europe, but like there's around 75 DG clowns, like 15 Ultramel clowns, 8 hypo clowns, believe it or not, 8 in the whole US for visuals, regular ones right now. Yeah. So, you know, there isn't, we talk about this mass production, but the numbers are not there. We're getting an influx of building blocks right now because people only have so much money, so they're on a lower end scale and they're trying to produce animals. And this was one thing I really wanted to talk about on this show was with the market the way it is right now. And it's not to blame anybody. This is not really blaming anybody, but this is the truth. We got some bigger breeders out here that are doing 400-500 clutches, and they never move on from their blue-eyed leucistics or their black-eyed leucistics or their bumblebees or their spinner blasts and this nonsense. Now, here's the problem. When you have a hobbyist that comes into this business and they spend $500 on 3 or 4 snakes or whatever they spend, when you got a guy that's been in the business for 20 years and he's got references, he's got a track record of selling these animals. These new people that are coming into the business, they can't even sell their animals because these people that are on the top, they don't want to get away from that. They want to continually try to produce these cheaper animals where they should try to step it up a little bit. And some of them do, but they have a big influx of cheaper animals, and it makes it harder for the people that are on the bottom to sell their animals, which in turn, some of the people even get out. And we can't have that in this business. We can't have that.
Yeah, but we do, and that's not going to go anywhere. Like, we're always going to have the low, mid, and high grade, and we're going to have, and this is like, I'm sorry, it is what it is, but if you are in something and if you are in something and you refuse to grow, if you refuse to evolve and try to grow in something, you stay at the bottom. You are a bottom feeder. You are just doing less and just doing what you want to do versus people who are here to grow. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine, but there's going to always be that in what we're doing.
In the grand scheme of things, everybody wants to grow. They don't want to, you know, I mean.
No, I mean, people, people want a fucking $1 million, but do they want to work for it? No. I mean, this is why people who get things going for them, like, here's the thing, like, you understand as well as I do that you get good big waves in this reptile game. If you're patient enough, good things happen to you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes, it's a lot of patience. I mean,
not a lot of people like that when anyone see you get success. Not everyone takes it well. Not everyone likes it that you get success, and it does something to them. You know what I'm saying?
When you put the work in, you're gonna get success. It's gonna come regardless. You know, and with that being said, you know, when I first started this, I never had the big 25,000, 35,000, 60,000 for the banana. I didn't have any of that money. So I had to work these long-term projects. And now that we don't have a lot coming in from Africa, I'm on the top in a way of some of these projects because it's taken me so long to get here. And that's just the unfortunate situation that it happened to turn out like this.
I think it's unfortunate but fortunate because look what you have. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't believe, like I thought you just made that stranger hypo clown. I thought you made that 2 years ago. You know what I mean? That's that's nuts. You know.
And I didn't. The father of that animal. You know, I tried getting in really early on in that project, and I didn't. And I didn't get in on it early. And what happened was somebody from Florida made the double hets, and they grew them up to adults, and she had 3 males, and I bought one of them males instead of buying a regular one. Instead of buying a clown stranger, I had the female hypo clowns, so I went after it, you know, right away, you know, and that's how I was able to do it.
So with you working with hypo clown, and let's kind of be honest with right now, okay, because Kyle, you know, the future of what we're doing is creating a snake that gets better with age, right? That's the idea as far as where we're leading into with these double recessives and triples and whatnot. Are you seeing good aging with the hypo clowns? Like, are you seeing better quality in their markings as they get older with hypo being involved with clown and these other combos involved?
To be honest with you, there's some really ugly hypo clowns out there. And there's some really pretty ones.
Yours, I'm talking about. So in your own collection, you have ugly and pretty ones, is what you're saying?
Oh, no. See, like pastel, if you add pastel, they just don't. The purple and the orange, you don't get it. Once you put the pastel in there, it's out the door, you know? And
so you're saying pastel's a no-go in that?
I mean, I like some of the stuff with pastel. However, like with other genes added to it, you're not going to see the pattern. You know, I sent you pictures of that pastel hypo clown pied, and you just don't see the pattern that you see without pastel. But with the DG mixed in, I think it might be beneficial as an adult it's still going to be a pretty animal, a pastel hypo DG clown. You know, it's going to be pretty with pastel in it.
So how do you feel about people kind of going in on genes that just don't really belong in a lot of projects, and it kind of offends people? Because let's be honest, a lot of people have pastel in their projects, especially a lot of people who just came in the last 2-3 years who had no clue that pastel was going to be shitted on by a lot of people. But like I said, it has its place.
100%, I'll agree with that. You know, I have a lot of pastel. I like some of them. I don't like some of them. It's just, you know, even the pastel hypo stranger clown that I made as an adult, he's about 1,000 grams right now, that breeder male, and he still looks nice. He's got like a pinkish grayish tone to him, something different that you know, it's different than a pastel hypo clown. It doesn't look even the same. With the stranger in there, it makes it just a different color.
Yeah, so I mean, with all this being said, like, where do you lie on the incomplete dominant genes that really are like the future for you? Like ones that, you know, obviously we're talking about stranger, right? But what are the other ones that you feel like are a huge like foundation for these double recessive projects that you're working on?
I personally, I think any co-dominant morph that has a super that doesn't have an issue is a good gene to have in your collection.
I think that's an automatic, right? Like, I mean, that's almost, you look at that, you should kind of look at that snake as a recessive in a sense, right?
Yes. But like I said, you know, if you got like power balls, or, you know, you don't want to have spot nose. I like spot nose in its single form. you know, there's no problem with spot nose in its single form, but I would never try to make any supers.
Is there an incomplete dominant that you have going on in projects that doesn't do well as a super, but you don't mind working with it?
I have GHI. I mean, the supers, some of them have problems.
Okay. I want to, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm very like GHI for life, man. The GHI was the gene for me because I'm a dark morph guy. I love that shit. That was what suckered me in until like I don't care what anyone's doing. This is what I want to do. And the super GHI shit was my stuff, right?
Yeah.
As I started producing them, I realized a lot of them they grow really slow, and I'm like,
yeah,
they're fine, they're all great eaters, but I feel like they don't fucking grow, and I don't know. And Mark Bailey came over, told me that's a thing that he's seen as well. But
yeah,
let's hear what you have to say about GHI and whatnot.
The super GHIs, I've heard of them having skin folds, like they just have wrinkly skin.
Oh wow, I don't have that.
I've heard, there's been multiple issues I've heard about them. I mean, we can.
I haven't heard about the skin folds. I want to hear more. Tell me more.
I mean, I know somebody else that produced tons of supers, super GHI pieds, lavender super GHI pieds, and they just are weak snakes and they don't really thrive.
Wow.
I mean, some of them do fine, but some of them don't. With that being said, that's one thing that I just decided, hey, I can work with the single and do just as well with the single than what I could with the super. So I'm just going to do one.
I've seen quite a bit of super GHI clowns. I'm wondering if that's an issue with the super GHI clown, like as well. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't seen a lot, I've seen a few, I mean, when you talk about a lot, I mean, people got RHACS full of albinos. How many people got RHACS full of super GHIs? I mean, we can really say that if we talk about numbers, there's not people with RHACS full of super GHIs. We got people with RHACS full of pieds. Pieds. That's another thing. Some pieds to me do great, and some don't. Some of them are just, they take longer to get the size. I think it has something to do with, I don't know. I think it was on another radio show that Jaffe was on his, and he was talking about how his snakes, they all eat. And then the babies from that same mom, they all eat. I think sometimes we should keep animals that are better from the start and keep working with those animals. I mean, everybody knows we have to assist feed animals, babies, to get them going sometimes. And that's just the way it is. But in the grand scheme of things, maybe we shouldn't be doing that because we're breeding a weak animal, basically.
It's crazy you say that, man. And it's not that I don't have a heart, but obviously I'm getting more realistic with, okay, if I want to continue on something that I put on earth, I want it to be the most fucking top tier of what it is. And that even goes with how healthy and how fucking amazing of an eater it is. Because at the end of the day, we all know in the wild, some things are meant to go the distance, some things aren't. I think Eugene Bissett says not every tomato makes it to the salad bar. You know what I mean? And that's,
you're right.
And it's a true thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's supposed to be how it is. And so when I look at something that is continually getting assist fed into the point where now it wants to eat, that thing's going to be PTSD, traumatized, or something's fucked up with that thing for the rest of its life. I don't care what you say.
It's funny though, because I have snakes that for some reason, like, if you don't assist feed them and you do some weird thing with the tub, give them a hide box, put a paper towel roll in there, put a piece of paper in there, different types of bedding, and the snake might sit there and not eat for a month, and all of a sudden you do one of those things and the thing starts slamming food like crazy.
Well, like I've never, knock on wood, I've never faced 150 clutches or whatever the fuck, but I've never had to assist feed a ball python because it wasn't eating ever.
Yeah, I've probably had 15, 20 since I've been doing this. Not that, 15, 20, and probably overall, probably 500 clutches total. That's all I've done since I've been doing this.
Right.
So I mean, with that number, 15, 20 really isn't terrible.
No, not at all. I mean, but also look, I mean, okay, first and foremost, the production that you are at right now. All right, going in 2024, how many clutches are you looking to hit?
I think I'm gonna maybe cut it back a little bit just because I have so much stuff right now still from this year.
What could you go if you wanted to? Let's just say you didn't want to cut back. How many clutches could you go?
I could do 150 if I wanted.
So you have a lot. So that's
yeah.
So that's also this is also why like I try not to speak too much on or try to gloat that I haven't assist fed a ball python. I don't have numbers like that because once you start working with a lot more, it's just you are going to have that weak snake, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But ball pythons are just, we were talking about it earlier. They're such a fun thing to work with because they're so easy. They're fucking goddamn easy, and it's fun, especially when you work with something challenging, and that's not easy at all. It just makes you really appreciate how awesome ball pythons are to work with. You know what I mean?
No, and I mean anybody. Let's face it. I'll be the first one to say it, but I mean a 10-year-old kid could breed ball pythons.
No, dude. Shout out the Snake Master Exotic, 6 years old, her first clutch. Her dad bought her snakes. Her dad got her the ball pythons right when she turned 4. She raised them up. She paired them up, and she's had like 4 clutches ever since. Snake Master Exotics. She's 8 years old now. She just kills it. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Anybody could do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's hitting those odds on those triples and doubles with the codoms and all that you're really, that's a whole different ball game.
But that comes like, okay, but you all know that happens with time and holding shit back.
Yep.
It happens when you just are just doing the work, not really think about it. We have Will Moros. I don't know if you're a fan of RCR. I don't know who is it, but Will Moros, man, that's somebody I've always admired who's just been, he's also behind the scenes. He has shit going for him social media wise, but he's not really like active, like pushy. He's not pushy, right?
Yeah.
But even before he even started Patreon and all that for his community, I noticed that he was just somebody who just doesn't sell shit. I remember Will you couldn't get a snake off Will. I remember 2017, I think, or 18. I would always hear from how you just couldn't buy a snake off that guy. And I was curious why. And then I found out he was a Mr. DG guy and all this other shit. And then Kyle, I went to go check out his collection. He was pulling shit I ain't never seen in my entire life. And I'm talking double recessives that I will never forget. And I'm just like, this is the future. Like, this is the future right here. But dude, it comes with years, decades of dedication. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I produced a bunch of Ultramel clowns this year, a bunch of Dreamsicle combos, Lavender clowns, Het Pied, Hypo clown combos. I'm not really working in, and this is not downplaying anybody else, but I'm not really working in any co-dominant, just breeding codoms to make combos. Everything I have 3 regular clowns in my collection. That's it, and with just 3 regular ones. Other than that, everything else I have is like either a 3 or 4 gene combo clown or double recessive stuff.
Now, leading up to where you're at, like, okay, let's kind of talk about your involvement in raising the bar. And what I mean by that is if you started in this shit dropping $2,500 on what you just wanted at the time was a pet, that bar just was raising as time was continuing, because let's you were at some point you were producing and you were selling snakes, and that's when and I'm sure you start to
spend more money.
I'm sure. Do you still work? Okay, how long were you working on the farm and having like I don't want to say 9 to 5 because farm life ain't no 9 to 5, but I'm just saying, like, how long were you working collecting money before it was just all snake money?
Okay, well, when I was 13 years old, I got that farm job. I also worked when I turned 18, I kept that farm job. And I also got a full-time 6:30 to 2:30 job. Plus I had the snakes.
Wow.
I was doing 3 things at one time. And like after a while, then I actually quit that farm job because the people sold it. And I did that job for a few years that I built houses. So,
sick.
And then after that, I went to college for a year, and that didn't last because my mother, she wanted me to have a full-time job and college at the same time. And I'm just not one of these book guys. You know, I'm not one of these people that can stick my head in a book for 3-4 hours. I mean, you might as well forget that.
Hey, listen,
You know,
I can't wait to visit Wisconsin. But were you born and raised there? Is that where you're born? Is that like your?
Yes, I've only moved 3 times in my whole life, and it's all been within a 5-mile radius. So I'm still here in the same area that I was born and raised in.
I can't wait to see what it is that makes you guys so special. But every Wisconsin person I met is just a special, awesome person. You know, I just love people from Wisconsin. You guys are just awesome people. Like, I mean, the Myers,
you know, there's a lot of beer here. You know, that's maybe what, you know, that some people get happy and some get angry. You know, I mean, it just depends on the person. You know.
Yeah, go ahead.
But anyways, yeah, you know, so I did that, and then actually I worked a factory job also and the snakes for like 10 years, and I actually quit that factory job 2 years ago, and I've been doing rodents and the snakes now for it'll be almost 3 years.
Okay, cool, man. I'm glad you brought up rodents. You know, at what point did you know it was about that time where you needed to rely on yourself for rodents and not a pet store or whatever, how you were doing it back in the day?
Man, you know, I sometimes I buy rodents for resale. Sometimes I don't have enough. You know, I mean, I'm all over the place all the time, you know, and that's one thing you always, no matter what, you better have rodents to feed your snakes or you're not going to be successful.
So, I mean, so you've never bred your own rodents?
I used to not breed my own rodents until like probably maybe 8 years ago. And then I got a building because I'm like, man, this is so much. I'm sick of trying to. My biggest thing was, you know, I bought rodents from MARC when he was in his heyday of doing the rodents, but then he cut back. Then I got him from another guy, and then he quit and he sold the business. And I'm like, I'm so sick of this. I'm getting screwed here. I'm tired of this. I'm going to start breeding some of my own.
Mm.
And that's kind of what happened, is it basically forced me to get my own because I didn't have a good supply.
And that's a thing though, like, right? Like it's a dangerous thing to rely on someone else, no matter how smooth or how long it's been. At any moment, that supply could just be cut off, right?
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, I'm just curious. Like, do you feel like there's got to be a point where if you can, you should just breed your own rodents so this doesn't happen to you, or what, you know, what do you have to say? Mainly for new people trying to get into this, you know.
I think if a person has 100 snakes or more, they should be breeding their own rodents.
Yeah, goddamn.
Because if you have over 100, the cost of them rodents is going to eat you out of house and home. Especially, you know, a hobbyist type person, say they got 50 to 100 snakes, and they're only making, you know, $700-800 per clutch on average. You're spending $200 to do that, so you're only making $500. And you know, it isn't all about the money, but you got to calculate all these things when you do this, because if you don't, you're going to lose money. And if you, especially when you're feeding your families off of this, you can't mess up. You can't be buying all those rodents. You got to raise some of your own. I do sell a lot of rodents to a local breeder, and he buys and he raises rodents of his own, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot more than just buying snakes and breeding, you know. Like, there's so many things that come to play to where if you don't have this shit running, there's a fat chance where you might not even get to the point of breeding if you're not getting your food. Like, you need the food to grow. Like, that's the most important thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And to me, I mean, I don't know, you know, like some people, you know, I feed everything. I'll feed rats, I feed African softers, and I feed mice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, when I first started, you know, it was only feed your snakes once a week. breed females at 3 years old at 1,500 grams. Well, guess what? When your females are 3 years old and you're only feeding them one meal a week, even if it's an appropriate size meal, you're not going to have 1,500 gram females. Let's face it. And I'm not saying that to be cruel or anything like that, but you got to feed your animals if you want to breed your animals.
So let's go back to what you just said. If you're feeding a 300-gram female once a week, no matter the size of the meal, it ain't going to get to 1,500 grams quicker.
I've tried raising females up in 3 years to 1,500 grams.
Oh, you're saying in 3 years, getting them ready in 3 years.
Yeah, in a 3-year span, if you're trying to raise up a female, you're going to have to feed her more than one meal a week to get her over 1,500 grams.
I know there's people who, they have their choice, whatever floats your boat. I'm always a 1,200 gram guy, personally. I've had success. I've never had a female not give me a healthy clutch, because mind you, that's when I'm pairing her up. But then by the time she's eating more food after she has locks, which she goes ape shit after, getting a couple locks, she wants to eat.
Like 1,000 gram female, you said?
No. I go 1,300, 1,300 is like my green light.
Yup, I've done that. I use an ultrasound too. So sometimes,
mind you too, these girls are showing me signs. They're fucking like, okay, like I'm gonna pair you because you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have
yup. Cold seeking habits. The way when you do put a lock on them, and all of a sudden they just go like, they act like retics, or they act like a green tree flying out after that meal.
Right.
They want to produce babies.
Right. As far as like you seasonally, right? Because where you live, it's easier for you to just have seasons. You're not a 24/7 year-round breeder, correct? Like everything gets shut down and opened up at a certain time of the year.
No, I'm more like, Mark Bailey's probably one of the most tight season breeders I've ever seen in my life.
He's so annoying about it too. I love you to death, Mark, but fuck this. I've never met anyone so like on the fucking dot, like strategically like structured like Mark Bailey. He's the fucking best. He's the best at that shit. Like you don't play.
I start in like, I used to start breeding in October, but I've noticed that was a complete waste of time for me, because most females, I would get like one clutch in March, and then everything else would be like June and July. Well, at that point, you don't need to start them that early.
Yep.
And I noticed too, like I could go up there right now and I probably have some females in there at 10, but for some reason, I'm not starting any of my snakes to breeding any of them until January from now on. I think it's just a waste of time, and the development is just not there for those animals. So I'm just going to start in July. I'm not one of these guys that breeds all year. I do have in my facility that I do have air conditioning and heaters. It's mini splits in each room, so you can control. I have a baby room and an adult room, so you can keep your babies hotter.
Right.
And that was another thing that I really like about having two rooms. Say you get a male that doesn't want to eat when you're breeding him, and you just wash him off and you put him in that baby room where it's warmer, and you get him away from all those smells of those females. And usually you can get him to go back on feed pretty good.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that option.
Yeah. I mean, another thing, man, like I love my room. I love everything. I love how far I've come, but I know I need more, and that's a fucking baby room. I want a hatching room. I would love to just produce something and immediately take it to a whole other place. And that's where I'm going to raise.
But do you really need it?
I know you don't need it. It'd be good. I don't. Obviously, I'm not doing it, but it would be great, because guess what? More space, motherfucker. If I get these babies out of here, I can fucking add more cool shit if I wanted to.
Yes.
But also too, like dedicating a room to the babies means you could hold back whatever the fuck you want, in a sense. Like now it's game on, like that's what
that's where I'm at right now. I think I can fit around 1,000 babies in my baby room, but I don't need that. I only produced around 500 this year.
That's still a lot, bro.
And maybe, really probably maybe 100 snakes went out wholesale to either like in a Japan shipments or to a pet store.
How long have you had those like overseas and international plugs for? Is that like a long built relationship that you've had, over
It's been about a 3 to 5 years where I've gotten people from overseas. You know, this is just like lower end type animals. You know, I do have some cheap animals on my morph market, you know, 500 and under, mostly females. You know, like a lot of my males and stuff, I just don't want to hold on to them because you know, putting all the food into them. I'd rather get them out of there. It's not that they're not good animals, you know, like ultra males, heck clown males, all these males, let them go out in a wholesale and focus on feeding the animals that are more valuable better, taking better care of those animals and getting those other cheaper animals out. And it's not that they're bad animals. They're just not what I want to cater to selling to the market.
So let me ask you this. What's your advice for anyone out there who's building, like, let's say this is their first year kind of building double recessive hets and whatnot, right? And everything's 100% double het or whatever, but having enough males, I feel like, is something that you always want to make sure you have, right? So if you have something that you like, is it smart to hold back 1 or 2 males out of that? Or like, how do you play the game where you're not in a position where you don't have
one or two isn't an option for me. I want 3 or 4, maybe even 5.
Oh, got it. Oh shit. So
I don't want to have issues. I want to make sure I'm getting what I want. And in order to do that, say you got 5 or 6 females or maybe 8 females in a project, I'll have 3 or 4 males. 3 or 4, you know, even only 8 females. I mean, I know people out there breeding 10, 15 females to 1 male.
Yeah.
I never was really one of those kind of guys.
Why is that? I'm not either, but I want to hear it from you. Why isn't that really your cup of tea? Dangerous, right? It's kind of to play, right?
You know, I've lost snakes. I can't lie. You know, I'm not going to sit here and lie to people. And I had 1,000-gram males that just never really bounced back. And I only bred them to 2 females, and I was breeding them only once a month. So I mean, literally, that male pretty much had, you know, 2 females at once a month for 6 months. That's only 12 locks for a male. And I mean, I know guys that breed 2 locks per female with an ultrasound, and they get their snakes pregnant, you know, and or gravid or whatever you want to call it. But and I just was never really the type of guy to, like, you know, I mean, we all know if you've been around long enough, you can go into history and look, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to produce 80 bananas or 80 spiders and lessers. And, you know, with the Kodam thing, people they just slaughtered it, you know, in a way. And I was just never that type of person. You know, when I got into the banana project, I bought my original male. He was 68 grams at the Tinley show. And I got, I think, 7 clutches out of him. I started breeding him in February. And I did we can all Sean Bradley method, basically feeding them small hopper mice every day and then giving them the weekends off. You know, I did that.
Wow, did someone pay you to say that guy's name right now on the show? I'm just like, are you trying to get me trapped right now? What are you doing right now?
No, that's just the truth. This is the truth. And I'm not no bullshitter. I'm not gonna
listen, me and Sean have no issues. I was just a joke.
No, I'm just being 100, man, because, you know, I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. Sean was one of the first people that helped me in this industry, believe it or not. You know,
I've heard that too. You know what's crazy? It's like, you know, after all the fucking chaos that went down last year or earlier this year, whenever it happened, kind of went down. You know, it's like, if you really think about it, he helped so many people out. Like,
definitely,
and people who are still around today. And it's like, I can't take stuff like that away from people, no matter what the other circumstances.
No, and and in all reality, like, to be honest with you, like with the banana project, I probably wouldn't have even made my money back for a long time if I wouldn't have listened to him about feeding the animals. But I also did this with going forward with that banana project. When I bought my original banana from him, or Coral Glow, or whatever you want to call it, you know, we all know they're the same thing. I mean, everybody, you know, Butter, Lesser, Phantom, Mystic.
Does that ever kind of like frustrate you with these names? Like, why the fuck? Oh, man, like,
I just think people want to. We're not in Hollywood, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be 100, we're not in Hollywood, and I'm not one of them people that, oh, I gotta have my own name. I got me. Let's just say it for what it really is, and it's the same. But anyways, with the banana project, I only bred my original bananas 2 years in a row. The second year that I bred them, I sold one of the males. I bought two, and I got rid of one, but then I also got a banana clown from Garrick the following year after. I took some of my money that I would have made and I put it into banana clowns, and then I bred that banana clown. Believe it or not, I bred it at 90 days old.
You bred, say that again. What?
That snake I had raised up to 665 grams
in 3 months?
In 3 months.
What?
And I had it breeding at 90 days old. And I got clutches out of it.
How do you back this up? Because I don't know. This sounds like cap right now, bro.
No, dude. There's people been doing this.
How's it possible?
You got to just feed them.
You
got to feed them until they don't want to eat no more.
It doesn't seem right, though. They're not eating like that in the wild. This is like kind of like a fucked up way to like speed the process and do shortcuts, don't you think?
But this has been going on for 20 years. I mean, I was just, hey, man, I was just one of the dumb people that didn't listen in the beginning, and I only fed my snakes once a week. Otherwise, I'd be farther ahead,
But I know people who've been doing this shit 20, 30 years who only feed once a week. They've never had really any issues.
I mean,
Marshall Mendez feeds once a week.
Yep. Yeah, he's a green tree guy too, so he's, they're more of a once a week.
I'm a green tree guy.
Yeah, they're more of a once a week, right?
No. I mean, you would say a baby neonate you'd feed once every 7 to 10 days, and you'd probably do that to about subadult. Then you want to stretch it to 2 weeks, and then people at adult stage either go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or once every month.
Okay.
Yeah, just depending on what their style is. I like to do bi-weekly. But listen, I've had this talk with Mark. Mark told me 6 months with him. He said that he's he's a pro at getting a snake at 6 months to fucking get ready to rock and rolling. 3 months though, bro. That because
I've heard of people breeding 350-gram males and getting clutches out of them.
So okay, let's be real though. How is that male recovering after that, being so young and no issues? Like they're fine.
Well,
be honest.
Here's the thing though. With that being said, okay, I did get that male to breed at 3 months old and 600 and some grams, but I only bred him to 2 females.
But did he recover? Did he live?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely 100%. And then I bred him for 2 years, and then I sold him, and I moved away from that stuff too. Like I said, I'm constantly trying to get better. I'm not trying to keep, my biggest thing was with the bananas and the male maker thing. I didn't want to produce a bunch more snakes and be selling against my customers so much. So, and that, like I said, that male, I think I had babies hatched out of him. I think he was 11 months old or a year old, but I only bred him to 2 females. And he did fine, but I didn't breed him like crazy either. I hear of people breeding, some people when they first start, they want to put their snakes and pair them together every week. You don't need to pair them but once a month.
Right. I mean,
and sometimes you don't even need to do that.
You need 1 lock a month, right? That's like the rule, like the kind of like the.
If you don't have an ultrasound, you breed them 1 time a month and you just watch. And if you know how to palpate, see, like what I do though, is I'll breed them once initially to get that female kind of going. Mm-hmm. And then I'll watch the follicles in the ultrasound. I'll feed her and I'll watch them and see if they progress. If they don't progress, maybe I'll give them another lock and see what happens then. If you get 2, so that female might take 4 locks. Some of them only take 1 or 2 locks, really. It depends on the animal. And when you have a factory of animals, because some of these people, that's what they got. And when you have that, you're not even in tune with your animals on what they're doing. And that's why you have so many. If you would cut it back, you would be able to be just as successful with less animals because you're more in tune with what your animals are doing.
See, like, I don't, and this is no offense to anyone out there. Like, I get it. There's ways of the game, and I mean, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. You be honest with me. What's the percentage of people working in ball pythons who aren't doing it for the money? Be real with me right now. What's that percentage?
Maybe 20% of the people that are working in the ball pythons are not doing it for the money.
I think that's a hefty amount. I think it's less than that. I think it's half than that. I really do.
10%.
Because listen, at the end of the day, it all leads to what? Wanting to make something that's either going to cost money or earn you money, right?
Yes.
And that's always been the name of the game of the ball python game since it started, right? How to hurry up and quickly get to that project. And this is why I'm in a place where I want to just kind of like, I get it. Like you always need to hurry up in a sense, but with stuff behind me, there's no hurrying. It's like age is on your side and it's better.
But I will tell you this, with the triple and the quad recessives, there is no hurry. And if you're in a hurry, you might as well forget it. Because
but what I'm saying is, okay, if you have that male who's 100% triple het, whatever, there is a hurry to get that male hurry up. Because what if you have females that are 100% whatever, or even visually ready for that male? You know, this is when this game, and this I'm saying, I'm not saying you do this. I'm saying I wish I never learned about the tricks and the trades of getting a male to eat quicker or whatever so it could breed at a young age. I personally think that's fucked up, but it's also the way it goes for this.
Yeah, and I also, here's another thing too, like, you know, I used to feed all my males. Well, sometimes I feed them rats, sometimes I feed them mice. But for the most part, I've been giving my males mostly mice now, just because they don't need a big rat. You know, they don't need some males don't even need a small rat. If you give them one jumbo mouse a week, once they're up to adult size, they can maintain their weight just fine.
So what's your take on people just solely thinking ASFs are the way to go, and they know this for whatever X, Y, and B, but in your sense, you like to kind of offer it all, and let's just say, if you could go all ASFs, would you? What's your stand on that?
I got in so early. I know what the benefits are. I had a female that bred at, like, she gave me eggs by the time she was 18 months old, just feeding ASFs.
Wow.
You know, but we're also in a thing where, hey, some people can't have African soft furs. So let's, you know, that's what I have all three, but I would never solely switch my whole collection over to African soft furs, I don't think. If I was to switch them over, I would just give them more mice, because anyone can get mice anywhere.
Yeah, for the most part, mice is going to be the most attainable rodent to get versus ASFs. And mind you, that's why I really wouldn't want to just focus on one prey item, especially something that's not legal everywhere. So it's kind of like you're limiting your chances of just kind of having someone at ease wanting to get this snake. But, you know, there are, I don't know, like I like, for me, bro, like, it's so simple. They go from mice to rats, and by doing that, that thing will either take a mice or a rat whenever I fucking want to. And so it has options. They're your options.
Yep. I do have snakes too that they'll eat rats after they lay eggs, and then they quit eating rats in about December, and you won't even get clutches out of them unless you feed them mice.
Wow.
So that it's not all. It's just, like I said, being in tune with your animals and knowing what your animals want.
I'm definitely on your side and more game plan with, especially my breeder males. Like, I don't feel they definitely don't need a rat, you know, like maybe a rat, maybe a wean rat at the most, but, like, you know, I'd much rather go a mouse or something, you know, because they just need that little bit of nutrients to keep going. And if you're giving them that meal every fucking 3 to 4 days, or every 3 to 5 days, or whenever you're taking them out and giving them a break, I mean, that's consistent eating, you know.
See, and that's another thing. I do my breeding a little bit different than some people too. Like, if I have a male that I'm breeding to 5 females, like, I'll put him in with a female, and if he isn't locked with her, I'll put him right in with another female. And if he locks with her, I'll leave him they usually lock for 24 hours. If it's a big male, sometimes they'll lock for 2 days. But then I'll even move them to another female, and I'll run them through all them girls, and then I'll give them a month off, because you don't need to breed him more.
Right.
You don't need to breed him more locks, because you've already got your. And then what I'll do is I'll check which ones that didn't breed, and maybe I'll breed him back to those again in a few weeks. But for the most part, I won't breed that female that I already bred with one lock. I won't breed her again for another month.
How do you have the males groomed going into pairing? Like, are they pretty emptied out? Like, there's no meals in them for a little bit, or is it just like, no, they're
I've already paired a male the day after it's eaten.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm talking about a first time male, like a first time male.
A first time male, a lot of times, like 3 or 4 days. I won't put him in with a female like right after he eats. It'll be 3 or 4 days after he eats. Here's another thing too. Some people with certain snakes, they will breed better if they're plenty fat. Some of them don't want to be so fat, and they got to be a little more lean. So you can't pound the heck out of them with food, because they just won't breed. Then it's like I said, it's being in tune with your animals. And when you have so many animals, like some people do, they're not in tune, so they're not getting the success that they should be.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have giant ball python females, and then I have not so giant.
There ain't nobody in this industry that's got as big of females as straight fire reptiles.
Oh, shout out to Levance. And,
I don't know. Man, them things are like blood pythons. I never seen nothing like it.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like, are we looking too much into size as far as wondering if we could get healthy clutches out of a snake? Like, are we thinking maybe a little bit more than we should as far as how much to feed something?
Personally, I think that it's the female that's going to tell you, if, like you said, start pairing at 1,200 grams, they're 1,700 grams by the time you get eggs. Some people will want to wait, especially with the triple recessives, like Mark, he told me he did only like 5 egg clutches, and he hit them bangers this year. And it just so happens that it sometimes turns out that way. But, some people want to have more eggs, because if it's breeding a triple het to a triple het, you want to have more chances. And if you don't have 5 females and you only got 2 females, you might want those females to be bigger and giving you 8 to 10 eggs.
Yeah. I wonder what the average clutches are in the wild.
I'd like to see if they would do a study on some of them snakes in Africa and figure out how old some of them snakes actually are.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, they do quite the job of staying out of fucking reach. They're well buried underground, from what Dave Kaufman showed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. That was honestly, I really, really, really enjoyed that video that Dave made over there, because you're seeing snakes at temperatures with eggs that you would not, they'd be dead in an incubator at that temperature.
Super hot, high 90s and shit.
Yep.
And it's like an outdoor incubator. It's like they're literally just have them, like, I think there's like a tent around it or something like that, and that's all it is. And they're just right there in the open. And it's like,
yep. I've seen that. I got videos on farms over there too. You can find them on probably on the internet.
Yeah.
But there's like a ball pythons in the wild video similar to what Dave put out. Some other person made it. And then there's a couple different ones over the years I've seen. And then Dave and Tracy, they did a breeding video. And then so did Dan and Colette Sutherland too. They have that ball python breeding video. And it's sad because I don't even think some of those are available anymore. And I think the new people would learn a lot from those videos, and they wouldn't have to ask so many questions. I
mean, but let's be honest though. Look at the stuff that there is out to learn now. Like, there's such an advantage now.
Oh, definitely. When I started, it was like some of this stuff you're flying in the dark.
Yeah, and mind you too, nothing against the Barkers or nothing what they put out, but so much of the old information on how to do shit. Not all of it, trust me. There's actually some old school advice that we're probably better off going with versus this newer shit. But either way, not all old school advice is good advice. You know what I'm saying?
I don't cool my ball pythons.
Like so meaning 24/7, same ambient, everything's exactly the same no matter what.
I keep my ambient temperatures 75 all year.
That's pretty cold.
And it might
I mean, it's not too, I mean, it's not freezing, but 75 is that's good. I like that.
Yeah, but you got to think about this too. How many people have RHACS in their houses and they're just breeding as a hobby and they just have RHACS, but they don't have like an oil-filled radiator in the room or anything like that. Yeah. Some people just have RHACS right in their bed, one rack right in their bedroom, 10 snakes.
And it's like low 60s or 50s in their house. That's definitely that people don't understand. The outer ambient of that tub matters drastically. You know what I'm saying?
And I, like I said, I'm a little bit more cool. Like my baby room, 83 degrees, but my hot spots in there, because I don't use just ambient, I do have heat tape. I do like 93 on the thermostat, and it turns out to be like 90 in the tubs on the babies.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, man. I'm definitely, you know, when you pay attention to your animals and you're really watching, you see things that maybe just don't really add up to you. And one of the things that I realize definitely throughout the course of the year is like my ball pythons, my adults, they don't need no 90 spot hotspot fucking, like that's unnecessary. I feel
no, like. You're gonna cook the sperm inside those females, I think, and some of the males too. They're breeding, and that's one thing I think contributes to slugs a little bit is people are keeping them too hot. And the old ways, people did keep their snakes 80, the adults like 80, higher. 83, 82. Oh. Like I said, I keep everything at 75. My heat tape in my adults, since I have plastic racks, that's another thing. Some people have freedom breeders, some people got the plastic. Right. My heat tape actually fluctuates all the way at the bottom rack of the rack. It's like 84, and at the top it's like 86, 87.
Now, what I was saying is that the lower and better temps for the adults doesn't work so much with the babies, I'm realizing. And I'm saying it doesn't need to be a lot crazier, but I do realize you're better off giving babies higher temps than adults. And only just because that's always going to keep their appetite going, first and foremost.
I was just going to tell you the trick to keeping the babies warmer is feeding them. You can feed them more, and you can keep that metabolism going to get them to size faster.
Yeah. You know? And it just also, you know, it's just a good way to kind of get them on a good schedule and a good fucking robust, you know, build, you know, and
with that being said, we can talk about that too. You know, this is the first year that I've had a lot of mice, and I'm not really feeding my ball python babies rats. I'm not switching them over to rats. I'm not going to switch them over. I'm going to sell them that they're eating mice. Some of them will eat rats, you know, no problem. But I think that my biggest thing is getting the snake eating on a consistent basis, and to try to be messing around with switching them. Say you got a snake that's eaten 3 or 4 times. You know, some people start just on rat pups right away. I'm a firm believer to do it on the hopper mice and then just keep them on hopper mice. And I've noticed too that if you get a snake 300 grams, it's a lot easier to change it to rats at 300 grams than it is right away. Some of them will eat right away. I can't deny that. But from my experience, I want to keep feeding them. And if they're eating, don't change something to stress them out and then they don't eat. You know, that's another thing. I think people sometimes are messing with the animals too much.
Oh yeah, overthinking it way too much. That's kind of like that's a definitely new kind of maneuver at the beginning too, is just fucking with shit way too much. And I'm the great example of that. I did that so much, especially with my own condo shit. I fucked with too much that I didn't need to, and I had to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's, you know, obviously because I take this shit serious. I love this shit. Like I love this kind of success means the world to me. But also less is more. You just kind of have to let it do its fucking thing sometimes.
Hey man, with anything out there, if you're gonna be successful, you gotta love it, man.
You have to obsess over it. And I feel like that's a lot of people's success is wrapped around the obsession, because that's all they think about. That's it.
I mean, look at with anything in life that if you want to be successful, you got to love it. You know, really, if you want to take care of your dog or if you want to take care of your baby, you got to love it. You got to nurture that. You got to, with anything, you know, if you want a car to last you, you better take care of that car. You got to love it.
It's true.
You know, with everything.
Yeah.
You know,
nothing kind of takes care of itself. You know, you have to be the one to make, especially if it's something that's in your hands. Like, you know, like that's a good example about a car, right? I mean, you can tell a lot about a person by the way their car is. I mean,
definitely, you know.
And mind you, I know some great people who just have some beaters and they just don't give a shit. But really, that kind of tells you, man, I hope you don't have snakes.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, the thing is, that's another thing too. Like a lot of people, I'm not one of these people that like I have allergies too, but I don't keep my snakes on paper. I just was never a fan of doing the paper thing. And you know, in the breeding season, I don't change my like a full change out of bedding. You know, I'll probably do one here, you know, in the next month I'll do one full change out, and then I probably won't do anything full change out till May. I will only spot clean.
Right, but that's the whole idea with spot cleaning is you're constantly just keeping that tub shitless, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and mind you, this is why, man, I'm just so.
But sometimes in the breeding season too, I won't clean. I'll give them fresh water, but I won't clean my snakes every week, even if they're pairing up, and I just put them in there, and man, when you clean them, they shit. When you pair them, they shit.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it just like you want to sit there with a gunny sack and tie it to its ass and catch it, you know? Yeah. I mean, really, because they're animals and that's just what they do.
Yep.
You know, I mean, really, because I've seen it, you know, like, I mean, when you get on one side of the room, you got clean and all of a sudden you're to the other side and you can already hear it. You can hear it. They're shitting already, you know? And it's like, man, I just cleaned them.
What's your take on like, dude, I mean, this was like some first time females I had paired up, and I don't want to blame the females. It could have been the male, but there were like fucking some rumbling going on in there, bro. Like it was getting roughhousing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's just a female just not wanting or not ready, but what would you take that sign for if you see like almost like fucking tumbling and like arching and like water bowl spilling, like just chaos in there? Like,
sometimes I don't even worry about it because you come in the next day and they're locked up.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, I mean, it just sometimes, you know, if someone makes a mistake and you put two males together somehow and you're hearing that, you're going to have a problem. But for the most part, like I get females that slam, you know, I've never had a female kill a male. I've heard stories where people have had a female ball python kill a male.
Wow.
You know, but I've never experienced that. But I've heard the rumbling, the tossing around. I mean, you can peek in there and you can see them wagging their tail so fast, beating it around all over. You know, I just over the years I've just left them alone. You know, that's one big thing about people with these animals too. You know, we all want to see them locking. I mean, last year I had a male that I put it in there 6 times and I never saw a lock, and I wanted it to breed that female so bad. And like 2 weeks, like, I don't know, it was probably like 2 to 3 weeks before ovulation. I was just like, this snake's going to give me slugs, because I was using an ultrasound. I could see the follicles were gigantic. I'm like, this snake's going to give me slugs. I know it. I'm getting slugs. So I threw another male in there that I knew, you know, the 2 different males, you would be able to tell 100% what the babies where they were fathered from. Right. Well, that male that I had in there 6 times, he bred her, but I never saw it.
Yeah, damn.
You know, so I mean, and I was at the point, because my snakes are upstairs. I live in a building. I have a house on one side of it, but then I have like it's connected to like an old factory, and I built a facility above the upstairs. Wow. And so there was times I'd be going in there at 1, 2 in the morning, put them in there at 7 or 8 at night, checking every couple hours, just peeking in the tub, you know, are they locked up yet? Are they locked up? I mean, I I was doing it nonstop because that male, I was never seeing any locks, but he was breeding other females just fine. So I'm like, this is pissing me off, you know. Well, he ended up fathering the whole clutch anyways.
I don't know if it's just me, but a lot of my breeding happens in the early morning. And that's why I tend to not even fuck. Like once I pair them up, I ain't looking at nothing till the next morning.
Yep.
But when I hear fucking like goddamn sounds like shoes in a goddamn dryer happening, it's like, what is that all about? And mind you, it hasn't happened a lot. It only happened with these two certain females and with this one male. And like this male, no matter which one of these girls I put him to, it was like, and it's like, what the fuck is happening in there? And so I just realized, you know, maybe this isn't a good time or fucking whatever, but
no, it's just sometimes that's just how they are, you know. I mean, and like I said too, they're gonna, you know, I've already paired snakes up and come there the next day and they're locked up, or I don't check them till the afternoon and then they aren't locked up and the male is completely covered in shit too.
Hey, let's poke at this fire real quick because I think it's something that I want it for somebody who's been in the game as long as you have. I know you won't hold back on this topic because I know you probably maybe been victimized of this, maybe a little bit bamboozled on a morph, just maybe overly hyped or something that just is so like being put on something that just never fulfilled it. Or maybe that's never happened to you, but do you feel like there are just stuff out there that to be cautious of listening and how it's being talked about and that it is kind of being paid into being something that it's not or anything like that?
I think all the morphs are unique in their own way. And I think that if you put the work into them, you're going to see some success either way. And then you're going to, you know, like I'm not really a big fan of the monsoon so much, but I think an ultramel monsoon or even a lavender albino monsoon or an axanthic monsoon, you know, they might be cool. They might be really cool animals. We don't know.
Right. You know, it's funny you mentioned monsoon because I was just like, well, you know, saw a version of monsoon before, thought it was cool. And then I saw it with leopard and Mojave or just other stuff. And I was like, holy shit, what is this? You know,
I do like that leopard monsoon that Billy made. You know, it's like it's a monsoon on steroids. It's like more enhanced.
Right. You know, but then also we were talking about certain genes that just aren't really cool in everything. Right. And then you put pastel on a monsoon and everything changes, right? And
some animals just aren't meant, you know, not everything is meant to go together. You know, Levance has been a big key of that, saying that to me. You know, not all these snakes, we're not trying to just put a million genes in them. Some of them, this stuff is just not meant to be together.
He's been a huge advocate of that. Like, you know, like just like, well, let's just throw everything in one big fucking salad bowl and let's toss it up. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, we're selling these animals, and who wants to buy an ugly animal, you know? But at the same time, we're all different. So this might be ugly to you. This might be pretty to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own, and that's what I'm saying. Like everything has, and also like a lot of things have stepping stones, right? And I always take it like no matter what the project is. Whatever stepping stone that is, I still want to like that stepping stone. I still want that.
You want to hear what I think is the worst ball python morph that's ever been out?
Oh my God. Hold on. Yes, I do. Tell me.
It's not even been some of the defective ones like the spider or the desert. I really think that the patternless morph, the recessive patternless morph is basically the most.
What is that? What's a recessive patternless morph? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, there is a David and Tracy Barker it looks similar to a G stripe, but it's a brown snake with no pattern and it's recessive. Oh, so man. You could do the same thing with a super cinnamon albino. You could make a patternless albino. To me, it's the most worthless ball python project that's ever come in existence.
You agree, though, man. If you could kind of work with something that looks better with age, that's the route to go in 2023, 2024, right?
I've always been a person that really likes to see pretty adults.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're making a project like a firefly axanthic clown is obviously going to be better than a regular axanthic clown as an adult.
Right.
You know, I've heard people in the business we're not selling adults. We're selling babies. We're not worried about the snakes looking so good when they're adults. We're worried about selling the babies, but as a breeder, as a person who wants to be a breeder, you gotta they're going to have them animals in their racks for a long time if they're breeding them. So you want to kind of cater to making prettier animals as adults.
I mean, it's what the future is. I mean, look at people who are making pretty adults.
No, I'm not going to disagree. I mean, like I said, I like hypopides. Just a hypopide
so
as an adult.
Oh my God. Has anyone made a hypo ultramel pied yet?
Yes.
Who?
Garrick has a bunch. Dean Van Omeren has a bunch. Ozzy made the ultramel hypo clown pied.
Wow. Damn.
Dean Van Omeren, I think, made a ultramel hypo clown pied. That one, I can't remember what his name is. It's a small time guy that used to be like a Ralph Davis person way back in the day. I don't even know, half the people that are probably listening right now don't even know who Ralph Davis is. But I mean, I'm just being 100, man. Like this guy, he made an ultramel hypo pied, clown pied also.
Yeah, okay, I gotta ask, there's people out there who just swear at pied being the forever greatest of all time, incomplete dominant morph. What's your take on pied being that?
Like the best recessive?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Why'd I say incomplete dominant? I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Pied the forever foundation morph is what I meant, not incomplete dominant. I'm so sorry.
Like Will was on I don't know if Will was on this podcast talking about it, but he was on a podcast recently saying that he's not really a pied person because
he said that on this show for sure. He said that 3 years ago, that pied just was, I don't want to say he said overhyped. He might have said overhyped, but
I don't think overhyped. I think that
he said something in that realm, and I will go back and dig it up. But it was something where he was like, "I'm not a pied guy." I know he said he made that clear.
It's because some of them can be 90%. You can get 80% white babies or 20% white babies in the same clutch. So you never really know what you're going to get with the pieds. However, that's also a beautiful thing with the pieds, is because some people like high white ones, some people like low white ones. So I think a pied is a staple, and it's going to continue to be a staple in this industry for a very long time.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of agree with pied being held on that standard, because it is the ultimate fucking new person puller. You know what I mean? Like
between a pied and a blue-eyed leucistic or a regular albino, those three snakes right there for a new person, is the best, like, eye catcher. Banana is too, but
I would never bend without having at least a couple pieds or blue-eyed lucies on my table. I can tell you that. You need it. And
I've never produced a blue-eyed leucistic.
I have. They're cool as shit. I don't prove it. I mean, it's random if I ever do. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't ever pair to breed blue-eyed lucies, because I feel like there's already enough people out there doing that. But pieds, for instance, like, and it's, I mean, man, I made a bunch of amazing comboed pieds that are, some of them are high white, so we already know where that's going to go.
Somebody's saying in the comments, this whole pretty adults bullshit y'all are throwing down our throats prove y'all really don't like these snakes at all. If we didn't like these snakes at all, we wouldn't have them. Really.
I'm going to respectfully say, and Elias, no disrespect, you are coming a little bit angry in the chats, but I will say, listen, there are levels to this. There are people that started with a classic looking snake. Don't be mad at the people who are on a level to where they're in the leading front end of this new generation of prettier adults. Like, what I mean by that is now we have something that gets better with age. Why do chondros have such a fucking crazy love for them? Because they only get better with age. So
definitely. That color change.
There's nothing wrong with that. And that's fine if there's a misunderstanding, but God damn it, best believe every fucking adult that I have in my collection, every ball python is fucking pretty. There's not one brown fucking ugly ass snake ball python in my rack, and I purposely did that.
I got normals in my racks.
Say that again.
I got normals in my racks.
God bless you. I mean, I have the most normal looking snake I have is a lace, and that thing is fire looking. But that's because that's what I want to do. That's I am on a mission to make pretty adult ball pythons because I've seen them, I've been around them, and that's just what I want to do.
Dude, you know? and in the triple and quad recessive thing, you're gonna have normals in your RHACS. I'm sorry.
Of course, yeah, that's fine. But I mean, go ahead.
If you're trying to make a decent number of these animals, or like maybe 5 or 6 even, you're gonna have normals in your RHACS.
Yeah, I mean,
I started out with like pastels. You know, I had the albino, the hypo, but I did buy like a 30 lot of normal babies. And I'll tell you what, man, some of those animals were super cool. Some of them didn't prove out to be anything, you know, they didn't prove out to be anything more than normal, but man, you would swear they would have been something different than a normal.
Either way, man, you could do whatever you want. Like, take whatever route you want. You know, I have some people who think I'm like a fucking, like, I'm trying to goddamn end Sunset's life in this hobby, and I'm really not. Like, God bless you if you're like, if your collection's full of Sunset, do your thing. This is all about doing your thing. This is why
100%, you know, do what you like. You know, right. That's with hypo. You know, a lot of people, you know, probably are like, man, this guy's got all this hypo stuff, and like, I've had it forever, and it's probably been my favorite.
Hypo over hype. Like, obviously, you know, God bless your opinion. There's just people out there who have different tastes, different strokes for different folks. You know,
yes, what I mean? blade and non-blade animals. I mean, dude, there's some beautiful, like the pastel leopard lesser clowns with blade in them. As adults, they don't look as nice, but as babies, they are so beautiful with the patterns.
Kyle, let's talk about this, because I try. Because I'll never forget when I first came into this, I would be sold something and they would say, oh, this probably has blade in it. But then I realized that they never put blade in the ad. They're just telling me that there's blade. Then I started realizing that, a lot of people don't say that they have blade in this project. And I'm coming to realize it's almost like, just don't even speak about it. Like, not that it matters. And I will tell you, blade makes everything look cleaner for sure. I mean, and you could tell who has blade floating on in their collection, because everything is fucking clean. Everything's basically a super blade.
I got rid of some. Like, Marshall has really nice that blade. And
that's what I'm talking about.
Dude, those animals though that he has, they're pretty.
He doesn't label blade on anything though. He doesn't give two shits about it having blade in it.
No, and they're pretty. And when you put other mutations in there, you can disrupt a blade. You know, you're not going to get that reduction in when you start putting other genes into it.
Right. But she's always going to look clean.
Hey, man, do what you like.
Right.
Do what you like, whether you like blade, you know.
But let me ask you, Kyle, should blade be like labeled? Like should people be labeling blade if their snake, quote unquote, has blade?
I can go on Morph Market right now and I can find all kinds of snakes that are blades that are not labeled as blades.
Right. But
it's not hard to figure out but the thing is I've been doing this for a long time, so I can pick it out, where other people some people don't even know it's in their collection.
So what do you recommend then? Okay, for people out there who are saying that they have blade, should they go in the other direction and label their stuff as blade, or does it not really matter, is what I'm saying? Does it bring value? Does saying you have blade in your snake bring any value to that snake?
Honestly. I think in some ways it can, and in some ways it can be not, you know, yeah. Wow. It can. If you're trying to make like a crazy pattern animal, you're going to be working harder with the blade to get that crazy looking animal, because that is so strong. Even like, I know a guy that was doing super blade leopards with no clown, and they were actually pretty cool snakes.
Right.
You know, but I mean, I have a few animals with blade, but not a lot.
I'm talking relevant breeders, like people who are literally on the higher end of things. Okay. Like Marshall, we're looking at his fucking ultra male clowns that he has.
Oh, dude, they're very beautiful. They're beautiful animals.
Gorgeous. But guess what? Nothing is blade labeled in that snake whatsoever. And we all know, I know that.
He told me he has a hard time telling, if he has a hard time seeing blade. Like, I can pick a normal, like if you're breeding a bunch of clowns, like the normal hets, just normal hets, I can see blade a mile away.
Yeah. I want to say too, but just because like the reduced pattern, like the type of style it has.
Like a tiger ball python, if you want to say tiger look, banded and like reduced pattern, you can see that in the normal hets when they're blades for sure.
You want to hear a funny quick story? I'll try to make this quick, but I haven't told this story in quite a while. I've come a long ways as far as trying to be less confrontational, but man, let me tell you how let me tell you how ready to rock and roll I was back then. This back to this story, because 2017 is when I started really like wanting to buy stuff to breed. Chris Sursery, shout out to Ball Pythons 101, man. He was the very first guy to like coach me and tell me this or that, right? And so he sold me my very first pastel 100% het clown. And this was such a pretty snake. And he's like, hey, MJ, I'm pretty sure this snake has blade in it. And I'm like, really? I was like, and to me, I'm like, another morph. This is epic. It has another morph. So I started posting this snake as pastel blade 100% het clown. And then out of the nowhere, this guy, I don't even want to say his name. He's long gone. Like, I don't know where he's at. But this guy was telling me, stop posting this snake saying it has blade in it, because I know the person you got it from doesn't really have blade. Long story short, he ended up meeting me. We got so into it where we met face to face and almost fought over this. It was crazy. The most craziest thing I've ever went at. And mind you, it was retarded how it all went down, because by the time he met up with me, he didn't want to fight me. He just wanted to talk to me about how Chris Sursery has fake blade going on in his fucking goddamn projects. And I thought,
no, he has blade.
Oh, no, I know he did, because I made, what's funny is I made a super, like 2 years after that, I made a super blade clown with that snake, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. And so
yeah,
I'm just telling you, like, it was just kind of a crazy situation on back then. Now that's something that's not even being labeled, even spoken about. Back then, people wanted to fight about it. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, it wasn't me. I just don't come at me. Don't come at me. We'll be good.
There's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened in this industry that people don't know about.
Oh, I mean, shit. People tell stories, and I will tell you, man. Being a podcaster, I can't help it that people want to tell me shit. And boy, have I heard some stories.
I mean, I've been involved in some pretty crazy stuff, but it's. I don't really want to talk about it here.
You don't need to. It's all good. People know, and
you know, I mean, I wasn't, you know, back then, you know, I've always been a person that just said things like it is, whether it is. I mean, I'm not a liar. I never ever lied to people about things, and the truth hurts, and they always say that. And there's been times where I stuck my foot in my mouth, but it was the truth.
You're telling me, buddy? Why do you think I got accused of being a fucking bully?
You know, I mean, and it's just, that's just the way it is. And in all these years, I can tell you this right now, there's people that have disrespected me ever since I started in this business, said all this stuff, hobby, you know, they've said all kinds of things about me, but you know, I put into work with a lot of these projects, and that's why I'm here. Some of the people that didn't even like me sold me some animals, and I took that stuff, I got on a whole new level compared to what they got.
That's why I feel like if you're really playing the game, and when I mean by playing the game, you're only worried about your own projects. Anyone who's saying anything, they will get tired out because you keep shutting them up with your hard work. And that's why, in a sense, with whatever the fuck happened to me earlier this year, I'm like, I have nothing but beautiful animals, and I have nothing but great shit I'm about to prove right now. And that's all I need. Because guess what? Why am I here? Why are you here, Kyle? Why are we here? What is this podcast even all about? Why are we here?
For the snakes.
That's it.
For the snakes.
I don't give a fuck about anything else. And no disrespect, I do like making new friends, but I am in a reptile hobby. If you are not bringing anything reptile fucking high, like, I'm just saying, if you do not relate to what I'm here for, I'm not, fuck off. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And
that's even like going to family things. You know, I don't have a lot in common with some of the people in my family, so I don't go to some of the family things, and that's just the way it is.
You have a lot of people out there that love to talk shit who aren't even a fucking player or even a relevancy in the game whatsoever. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's relevant people though that like to talk a lot of shit, and you know they
shout out to Paul Peters. Looking says, I look coked out. Look at this. Oh, here we go. We got a bottom feeder here. Gotta love it. This is how you know you're doing big things, just so you guys know. All right. Shout out to Paul Peters. We all know Paul Peters is a legit person. Shout out to Facebook. But anyways, either way, just
why are you looking like a shaggy, coked out brother?
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
Whatever that means. I'm just saying, bro, what a time. And I do know that if you're not evolving, you're just going to be somebody in the cheap seats, always fucking depressed, always talking shit and mad at the people who are doing things. And
Well,
Kyle, like I said, no matter who has said anything about you or for whatever reason, I guarantee they ain't saying it now. You know,
I'm still here.
That's what I'm saying. You're here.
I'm still here. Where a lot of, I've seen a lot of people come and go too. I've seen bigger names, that, like I said, Ralph Davis, there's people that don't even know who Ralph Davis is now.
Yeah. I definitely feel like that's a name that needs to be, like, you should know who Ralph Davis is. It's pioneer of what a lot
Kevin McCurley. I mean, people know Kevin because he does a lot of YouTube, but people don't know Kevin for ball pythons. And Kevin was a huge, huge person in this ball python thing. Kevin has been in this, for the whole industry. I mean, that, to be honest with you, Kevin will tell you, I got attention deficit disorder, whatever, but I'll tell you what, that's one of the smartest guys I've ever met in this industry, as far as animal care, doing all the different things with different types of animals. He's on a whole new level with his expertise with these animals.
Yeah. Kevin McCurley, man, I've never disrespected him as far as like the knowledge and the shit that he's brought in, but I do know that as far as what we do, like as far as the interest is ball pythons, he's really tapped out. Like he's in a whole nother department of things, a lot of it content pushed and created, which is great. You gotta evolve and transfer. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, that guy, right? He wrote the book on morphs. And I've had one of the best podcasts with him and Barcheck, and him breaking down like just how a reptile digests a meal, and just like just stuff that you don't normally hear from someone talking. The guy's a fucking, like, it's crazy to hear.
No, and I know people that even, how do you think they found out that boas, you can't feed them like you can feed a ball python? They did it, and then they killed them, and they literally took them and cut them open and looked at everything inside of them.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that, because I've always at least always told the right way how to approach raising up a boa. Nothing like a ball python, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
Not even close. Because
their digestive system's a lot slower, and it just, and they can handle big meals certain times, obviously at a certain age and whatnot. But man, I love boas. I mean, I don't have a lot, but I still have something going on with the boas, and that was also something I was happy to kind of learn. I've had one boa litter, and just didn't pair anything up last year, but this year I have 2 girls paired up.
Oh,
and
cool.
Dude, I will tell you, there's nothing like walking in and seeing a live birth of fucking snakes everywhere just crawling around your goddamn enclosure.
Yeah, I have some now. I got like 6 or 7 boas, and they're just kind of pets, but someday I hope I can pair them. I'm not like pushing them to eat. I feed them only like every 10 days, man. And whenever they get there, they get there.
Yep. And, I don't know. I try not to get too hard as far as when I talk on stuff like this, but I'm very passionate about people kind of just, taking on the challenge of working with another species, especially after you've had some success with one. And, I always use ball pythons as an example, because that was my foundation, right? But at the end of the day, you're going to love these ball pythons even more if there's something else out there you're putting a little attention on that maybe has a little bit more of a hard learning curve than the ball pythons, because
I thought about getting some Bolin's pythons just because it's been so hard, so impossible to breed. I thought about sticking some money out and just getting some of those.
Yeah, man.
Because if I can figure that out, man.
And it's becoming more of a known thing that the Bolin's pythons isn't as much as a fucking unicorn mythical snake to breed after all, because there is a guy who's bred Bolin pythons 3 years in a row now. Okay.
Yep.
And he's going to be coming on the show. I don't want to give out too much information, but it's about figuring shit out. And we're talking with a snake that just hasn't been worked enough and dedicated enough. And some people have better luck than others. I'm rooting for my man Ari, because I know Ari Flagel deserves to have his fucking Bolin's dreams come true. And I know
that's the guy with the daughter that's got the snakes, right?
The guy who's bred 3 clutches. I believe.
No, not him. The guy with that you're talking about, your buddy that's got the Bolins.
Ari or Scott.
The one is the one with the 6-year-old daughter that breeds the ball pythons, right?
Oh, that's Socrates. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
he hasn't bred Bolins. He's raised.
He has some, right?
Yeah, he has a trio.
Okay. Okay.
1.2, and he's raising his up. But there's a guy in I forgot the state, but there's a guy named Scott whose daughter is the one who kind of posted the pictures about the Bolins that he hatches out. He's behind the scenes. He does no social media, but his daughter's the one that just randomly posts Bolin python clutches, and it's like, what the fuck? And I guess they're all doing. I guess he has over 60 babies.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See, I know. I thought Kevin would have got some already. Maybe he has. I don't know.
Either way, but the guy has to sell them for Kevin to get them. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
the only Bolins Kevin is getting is imports. So he's not.
Yeah.
he's not
Now are people? Now that was another question. Since I don't know, going off of the topic of ball pythons, but with Bolin pythons, are the ones that are producing captive bred babies also? Are those the ones that are easier to breed?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that because I don't know.
You don't. Yeah.
I don't know the snakes that he's getting success for, if they're F1s or if they were, you know what I mean? I'll have to find out. But sooner or later we'll know. But either way, just what I'm saying, it's like if you have the numbers on your side, then I think you're going to be fine. And I know he probably has a good group of Bolins, just like anything else. You know what I mean?
That's another thing too. You can't get success out of one pair. I mean, if you do, you're very lucky.
Right. But either way, like I always, I don't know. It's fun to have multiple species. I mean, especially if you're a real reptile lover, if you really love this shit, fuck, why not have more than one species? Even if it's something so easy, dude, it just, I don't know. And it helps the hobby too, first and foremost.
I like a lot of stuff, but I'm only one guy, and I don't really want to hire a bunch of people, so I don't get all kinds of different things.
I understand that too. Brock Wagner was mentioning that, Brock Wagner is a true fan of the reptiles, but he's, he works, he's a full-time job. He has a family, and he has quite the overhead of ball pythons. And so it's kind of hard to really fuck around and just say, let me fuck off and do this, when you're already that deep. But
no, and it isn't really about the money either. It's just that you're so involved in what you already have, you don't want to get nothing else.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of work to do with ball pythons yet. I mean, we haven't seen, there's so much stuff we can do yet out here.
It's exciting. And this is why, like, when Justin came on the show, there was a little bit of a trend of people being all sad and the ball python market's crashing and blah, blah, blah. But hold on, there's people out there who are not miserable at all. There's people out there having a fucking blast.
Dude, I talk about ball pythons. It's like, some days I don't even answer my phone because I don't want to talk about ball pythons because I eat, breathe, and this is all I do, and it's just like some days I just want to get a break from ball pythons, and to be honest with you, that's one thing too though, is if I didn't love doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't be here. And if it wasn't for ball pythons, I wouldn't have some of the things I have either.
Yeah. And no matter how much I'm addicted to a lot of this newer stuff that I have, I will never not have a ball python project going on in my collection. It's my foundation forever. And mind you, like, why would I want to give up? Like, I've been working towards stuff, and I have a lot of cool stuff I'm working towards.
Yeah, I see you got some hypo GHI type things.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is my first year, actually, my second year. This is my second year really dialing in on just working on holdbacks, working like double DG, clown, DG hypo, or I'm sorry, clown hypo. Then I have a couple triple recessives, but I have all my favorite, incomplete dominance at play. Like I have super gravel, super asphalt shit. I have, I do have super GHI shit that are 100% clown and getting into that and shit. So, and I feel like I'm just starting, like, because of these projects and doing something I technically should have done in the beginning, but I just didn't know better. I was just Mr. Breed Kodom to Kodom and not give a shit. But it's cool to learn stuff and adjust and kind of start over in a sense. And it's awesome because, bro, I'm producing these non-visuals, but they're 100% hets, and they look fucking stellar. They are so fire. The quality in this animal. Crazy how 100% het will just make an animal quality so fire. And I'm having a good time just holding shit back, bro. Like,
and even with, like you were talking about the GHI and the hypo, I never seen even a hypo GHI DG yet.
Wow.
I never seen a hypo GHI desert ghost. I mean, them genes have all been outlawed. We've already seen the GHI, or I mean, a sunset DG, which them animals have been out nowhere near as long as just a hypo, a GHI, and a DG.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much to do out here yet, and that's one of the great things about the ball pythons is there's still a lot to do.
Right.
You know.
Listen, I got a wrap up question before we get into some hot seat questions. Okay, Kyle.
Yep.
Like what's a 5-year project plan for you? Like what's the project you would love to fulfill in the next 5 years if you can?
Probably hypoaxanthic clown pieds.
Hypoaxanthic, which would make a true ghost, right?
Yep.
Clown pied.
Yep.
Wow.
With a bunch of codoms in. Maybe, you know, I mean, it's going to be hard.
I've been shown true ghosts like a long time ago. Someone showed me a true ghost, and I'll forget how amazing that snake looked. And then now you're starting to see it a lot more. You're starting to see a lot more true ghost shit being implemented in people's projects, like just as far as publicly goes. And I don't know a better fucking combo as far as like, I feel like that's hypo on steroids.
I did produce a hypo GHI axanthic. I produced two of them, but one of them, for some reason, it never even made its first shed before they even come out of shed. It died. So there was something, I think, internally wrong with it. But I do have one that's about 100 grams now, and it's probably 8 and 10 times. And that animal, it's a GHI true ghost, and it's a beautiful looking animal.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sucks because I'm intimidated when it comes to me thinking of adding Axanthic, right? Because first and foremost, if I want to kind of get ahead of this curve with my other stuff, I'm gonna have to drop some fucking coin on some crazy Axanthic shit, or I could take the long route like a lot of people did. But I just feel like the longer I wait, the longer I'm gonna be pissed I'm not having Axanthic in my fucking game. It's just a whole nother branch on your project tree to just kind of geek out over. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite projects, though, it never. One project I want to talk about quick before we get to that hot seat question. You know, I had caramels way back in the day. You know, caramels, and with all the issues they had, I got rid of them, and I never got into anything until, you know, probably 2017, 18, I got into Ultramels. And to be honest with you, that's probably been one of my favorite projects. And it's been getting to be one of my more favorite projects as time has went by.
Has anyone made a True Ghost Ultramel?
No, but I do have an Axanthic Ultramel. They are really cool. They look different. You know, they're definitely different than a regular Ultramel. You know, I'm working on some of that stuff. I don't want to say everything that I've got with that, but you know, I'm trying to do some of that Axanthic Ultramel, I guess you could say. And I don't want to say everything I'm doing, but, you know, I that's probably, I do like the Ultramel, you know, Hypo Ultramel, Axanthic Ultramel, DG Ultramel. I've seen a few of those. They look awesome. You know, people like Monarch, you know, I'm a Team Ultramel guy. I did have Monarchs and I sold them.
Easy on the team stuff, bro. You're going to get people all worked up. You're going to have all these Team
Ultramel. Team Ultramel, you know, Jaffe's in here. He's probably just loving that.
I love, but you can't scratch Monarch out of the picture just yet. With
no, you cannot. They're different. They're definitely different. They're similar, but they're definitely different. You get a different tone of your tones on those animals are different.
But there's been more example of Ultramel than Monarch right now, is what I'm saying. So Monarch,
yes, 100%.
Monarch still needs a little bit of time, but it's also like even with time, it's kind of like apple to oranges. It's whatever.
Albino or lavender albino, or candy and lavender albino. You know, I had candy stuff, lavender stuff, and albino stuff, but I got rid of. I only have lavender now because I don't want to be a giant breeder. I want to work with certain things.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Do you know, like I said before we get into the hot seats, do you always feel like you're going to stay in that realm of 100, no more than 100 clutches from now on? Or what's going to be your ideal number of clutches you would like to stay at?
I had 114 2 years ago. Last year I had 35, and this year I had 80. And to be honest with you, I kind of want to cut it down to do like 80 or less.
Damn.
80 or less always, never more than that. Really.
I remember
because I don't think you need more than that. If you got the right animals, you don't need more than that. And if you really have the right animals, you probably don't need more than 50.
And I think Will and I spoke about this a long time ago. Well, not even a long time ago. I told him 2 years ago how like my ideal perfect number, no matter where I'm at volume wise, production wise, 50. I don't feel like you need anything more than 50 personally. If you're doing everything right, as far as working with specific streamlined shit, you should never need more than 50. Now I don't need more than 20, to be honest. I'm fucking way dialed back now, just because I'm only working with shit I want to hold back. There's no more me making snakes for the people. I love the people, but I'm making snakes for me. And then whatever I don't need, then that's for the people.
But I do have animals where I have made stuff and sold stuff and kept some stuff, right? Just because I'm a person too that, hey man, if not that I want to copy somebody else's idea, but all of a sudden if they make an animal and I think of something better with what they could put my own twist on it. That's the thing. We all don't need to be making pastel axanthic DG clowns or regular axanthic DG clowns. There's so much out there to do besides that. We don't need to all just do that.
Stop breeding pastel. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just saying, like, there's so much to do out there, and it's
Stop being
kind of a shame. I've seen so many people just jump on a train and man.
Yeah. But that's the thing though. I mean, that's kind of like that's why I bring up the hype thing, because it's a fucking train and people are just quick to jump on other people's trains. And it's like
100%. But you know what?
That's how this all started though. Let's be honest.
Yes, it did. It had to start somewhere, and it started there.
But why not start your own train? Like, do you want to party on someone else's train or do you want to party on your own train? I'd rather party on my own train. You know what I mean? I'll use someone else's train to help me get to my own train, but you should want to get on your own train.
You should want to do something better and create something different always.
Something different. Find a way. And the thing is, there are so many options in the ball python game to be different. Like you have a lot. It just takes some little bit of thinking, and some ball python people just don't like to think. No offense. I'm just saying.
There's a lot of smart dumb people in this world.
Lazy. It's laziness.
Well, bro. That too. I mean, I'm on a. I get people that be like, can't you just sit down and not be on your phone at dinner time? Or man, if I'm getting calls and somebody wants to buy an animal, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm dropping whatever I'm doing if they want to buy something. That's just the hustle we're on. If you're doing this for a living, you just got to do what you have to do.
One of the things that gives me anxiety now, and I, God bless my family and my friends, they don't ask about getting into snakes. They ask, MJ, or Mike, don't call me MJ, they call me Michael, can I come over to your house and can you show me how to do YouTube? And I go, you want me to show you how to do YouTube? Do you have 3 years? Like, do you realize how I'm still trying to figure out YouTube, and every day it's something new? But this is something that is such a fucking goddamn mental beast. It's ridiculous. And for me to teach somebody how to do this, either you have it or you don't.
I don't have it. My 11-year-old niece can run YouTube like crazy. She's got her own channel and everything. And I'm just like, I don't know nothing about it.
You just got to get going and just do it. That's the thing. But it's also like, just like how someone comes in and they buy a snake from you and then they ask you, well, what would you put to this snake? Or what should I put to this snake? You got to figure that one out, man. Like you have to like just how, if you want to start YouTube, well, what do you want to start YouTube for? I can't tell you what to talk about. You know what I mean? Like you got to figure out why you're doing it. And it has to be something that fires you up. That's what I'm saying. It all goes back to working with what you love, right? No matter what you're doing, you got to have that purpose,
exactly. And I mean, like you said, we're all here for the animals, really. I mean, yeah, we're all making money, but we're in the grand scheme of things, if I had to sell everything and not do this anymore, I think I would still have pet snakes. They might not be ball pythons, but I would definitely have reptiles.
I love that you said that.
You know, I don't, you know, they might not be
probably
ball
wouldn't be ball
pythons,
pythons, but you know, yeah.
you know, but that's what I started with, and that's all. I've always had ball pythons, but if there came to a scenario where we couldn't have ball pythons anymore, you know, I would have something else.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, but you're just keeping it 100, man. And this was a great podcast, Kyle. Like I said, I didn't, you know, we've talked, but not a lot. Didn't know you. Now I feel like I know you, and you're fucking awesome, bro. I definitely am looking forward to having you back on the show.
I'm real. Yeah, I'm not gonna feed everybody a line of bullshit and tell everybody they're gonna make $1 million at this without putting up $1 million first.
Nothing attracts me more than someone genuine and coming from the fucking heart, you know. And the fact that you said that you had people not like you at some point and make shit up, it's because the truth hurts, motherfucker. And
I mean, I've had people threaten to sue me. I've had people do all kinds of crazy things to me where I could have sued them. I just let it all go, you know. I mean, I just keep putting the work in, and that's kind of how I got here with some of the stuff I do, you know. Like I said, people wonder how you got all this. Well, it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of dedication, and there was a lot of sacrifice of you know, when I was in my early 20s, I had friends that were going out every single weekend getting trashed, you know, and everything like that. But I was doing snake stuff. You know, I did have fun, but I also did a lot of work too.
Yeah, man. And it shows. You know, that's why it's like one of the many things about like putting in the hard work in the ball python game or any reptile, like, you know, hobby that you're in, is your hard work shows off and you get rewarded. I'm telling you right now, good things happen to good reptile keepers.
That's with anything in life. I mean, people talk about Bill Gates and how did he get there? You know, how did Bill Gates get there? Well, you know what? He worked hard. Somebody down the, you know, some of the people that even like Walmart, you know, they're on Forbes 500 right now, these grandkids and everything, but somebody somewhere put the work in, you know, really.
100%, man.
All
right, man. Go ahead.
You know, that's the thing. And this stuff doesn't come overnight. You know, there's a lot of, I'm still learning with ball pythons.
And I'm glad you said that too, because there's just no figuring this shit out completely. Yeah, you get better. And that it's all about maybe not repeating mistakes and getting better, but you're still going to learn. I brought in the most fucking experienced reptile keepers on this show, and they're like still learning to this day. But that's the beauty. It should never be to a point where you're a know-it-all. Like where's the fun in that? You know what I mean?
Hey man, I know some people don't believe in God, I'm sure here, but you know what? We're not God, none of us, and we ain't knowing it all.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna know it all. And the people that have a closed mind that are like that, well, I'm sorry. I'm feeling sorry for them, because you gotta have an open mind with everything. With everything.
You have to.
You know,
closed-minded people they're in the cheap seats. That's all I gotta say. But listen, hot seat questions. You ready for this or what?
Yeah, sure.
All right, don't be too excited. Fuck Kyle. Guys, get the likes up, please. The likes are respectable, but please, let's get the likes up for Kyle. Hot seat question time. Coming in hot. Listen, I don't need long answers. The quicker, the better. That's the way it works. You ready, Kyle?
Sure.
Here we go. Frozen thought or live?
Live.
Egg cut or no cut?
What?
Egg cut or no cut?
I cut.
On what day?
53.
Preferred substrate for a ball python hatchling?
Cypress, and my adults also.
Pre first shed meal or post first shed meal?
Post.
Yay imports or boo imports?
What?
Yay imports or boo imports?
I would say yes, imports, and I want to elaborate on that, because if we didn't have imports, we wouldn't have any of this stuff.
And you still think it's important that we have that now, right?
I still think it's important to keep some of these ball pythons coming in, because otherwise we're just inbreeding everything so bad that somewhere down the line we're going to be having problems.
What about one reptile you like to import to your collection anywhere around the world? What would that be?
Fiji Island banded iguanas.
Fiji?
I've wanted them since I was 6 years old, and they're illegal in the United States.
Damn, that's heavy. Okay, what about one reptile you don't think anyone should import? Leave it alone.
Man, I don't really know because I mean,
What
I
about
don't think
what
people
about
should
sea
have.
turtles?
What's that?
What about sea turtles?
They're in the ocean, so I mean, how can you import something that's in, you're not importing it from any country. I don't think that would be a good pet for anyone.
I just thought turtles in general should be left alone personally.
I mean, I like turtles. You know that I don't know if you've seen the YouTube.
Oh, who has it? That's iconic. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
moving forward. All right, here we go. To spray or mist a ball python, or to not spray and mist a ball python?
To spray, you can. Yes, I'd rather spray and miss them.
Yay sports or boo sports?
I'm not really a sport person.
Respect.
So, no,
Big flexor or no flexor?
I'm not really a big flexor either. I mean, I got snakes out here that not even people have, and I haven't even posted them on YouTube, or I haven't posted them on Instagram even. So it's just like I'm not gonna show everybody everything.
I hope you do someday and just shit on people. That'd be great.
No,
No. Steak or fish?
I'm a steak person.
Favorite cut of steak?
Ribeye.
Nice. Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
I'm not a yay or a nay or a boo.
Just saying, if the time was right, would you partake or would you not in a alcohol beverage?
Yeah, I'll drink.
What's your choice drink?
Gin.
Nice. Gin guy. Respect. All right. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
How about neither? Because I'm not one of them type of people.
Dude, you're old, bro. Like me. You know what the fuck.
I know who they are, but
You know
I don't
up,
really
dude.
listen. I mean, I'm like a rap type music.
All right. All right. I you know what? I'm sorry for judging. I'm gonna go ahead and holster that Van Halen one, and I'm gonna go to this one. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
West Coast.
Favorite West Coast rapper of all time?
Probably Snoop Dogg.
Respect.
Yeah,
I do know. Hell yeah. All right. Little word association. Say the first thing that comes to mind. You ready? Milk.
Cheese.
Cocoa.
Bedding.
Stuck shed.
Water.
FedEx shipping.
I don't know, man. FedEx shipping. Yeah. I'm not sure, man.
Okay.
I don't really know what to say to that.
Respect. First time ball python breeder.
One word answer, you said?
It could be just what comes to mind. Like it could be a whole sentence. I don't care.
You got a lot of work to do.
Respect. All right. Instagram trolls.
I mean, man, people are gonna do what they're gonna do anyway, so it is what it is. I mean, they're gonna troll. I've been trolled a lot, and I used to be the type of person to sit there and argue, but it just ain't even worth it. You just keep it moving, just like everything else.
Yep, just like Paul Peters. Shout out to Paul Peters. All right, moving forward. Here we go. Least favorite codom.
Spider, I would say.
Okay. Second to last one. If you had to eliminate one of these morphs forever, you can never bring them back. And I mean forever. Which one has to go? Sunset or monsoon? Take your time. I know it's a heavy one.
I would say monsoon.
Woo! Hey. Respect. I ain't gonna take that away. Last but not least, you ready? Coolest reptile podcast in the world.
I don't know it. I know yours, but I don't really know any other ones.
Thank you. That's perfect. That's a great answer.
I know one other one.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You thought of mine. And
no, I gotta tell you the story. I gotta tell you the story.
Oh,
I gotta just quick tell you the story. Hey man, I got asked to go on another one, but I said, hey man, I can't I'll tell you let me know when I can come on your show. And the person said to me, screw you. This is my show. I'm telling you when you're going to be on my show. And to be honest with you,
wow, dude, what? Who was that? Name drop that person. Come on.
and I mean, the thing was, I'm all over the place all the time. So I need to set a time. And like today was a perfect time.
Was it a podcast that starts at 4 a.m.?
No, this was a reptile podcast that's been around for a long time. And I mean, a lot of people know the guy, and he's had some unfortunate circumstances. So I
know who you're talking about.
Say any more than that.
Wow, that's heavy, man. I didn't know you got started like that. Well, listen, there you go, man. Listen, I put no pressure on who wants to come on whenever they want. I'm lucky enough to where a lot of people don't tell me no. I mean, I've had one or two due to earlier this year, but
you got lucky with me. You got lucky with me. I mean,
bro, hold on, Kyle, time out. Listen, I'm gonna call you out, buddy, because I got receipts when you asked to come on my show. You've been wanting to come on this show, motherfucker. But also, it's mutual. I've been wanting to get you on this show, but regardless, like I'm happy. Like this was a great episode, Kyle.
No, I'm not really a person like. I don't mind going out and having a good time and doing whatever, but I'm just like not a camera person. Like to sit in front of, we're not in Hollywood, like I always say it to a lot of things nowadays. And I'm not trying to be famous.
Wisconsin people don't want Hollywood.
I don't want to be famous. You're
a good talker, bro. Listen, you have a lot of information and you know how to lay it out there, and it was all authentic. That's just why.
Yeah, and I want to tell everybody else something. I know I'm going to get some tomorrow, but I'm really not offering no 50% off or like these big Black Friday sales because I'm not some big conglomerate that's got to force my snakes out the door, to feed everything. So just please don't come at me with your 50% offers because they're going to be a no.
And he doesn't have a disgusting floor that looks black and all this other nasty shit.
I'm not trying to force my animals out the door. I got a lot of good animals right now, and I'm just not going to give them away either.
No, you shouldn't, because you work too hard for that. Don't you feel like you work too hard to be giving away shit like that? Like, no, like they don't. I'm sorry. Hook up the people you want to hook up, but this isn't a time and place where just you're desperate is the game plan, and
I got the rodents too. That's another thing. And if I don't, I know where to buy rodents from that I can feed more. I'm just not gonna, I had people offer me like little and nothing for animals because other people have them up like that, but mine are on a whole different level, and I'm just not willing to give my stuff away.
Good for you, man. I feel like you have a lot of standards that you kind of stand tall on, Kyle, all because of, like you said, the things that you've seen and the things that you've been through in the industry, and you can't take away the experience. Like I understand knowing people takes you far in this, but nothing's going to help you more than experience. Nothing's going to help you more than putting in the fucking work, learning on what to do, what not to do firsthand versus Google.
Oh man, I've made some big mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and feed people a line of bullshit. I mean, I've killed animals. I've had mistakes happen. I've had, thermostat malfunctions happen, losing $50,000 worth of animals. I mean, I've had unfortunate circumstances out here, and it's just the way it is, man.
Yeah, and we didn't get to that. I've had plenty of conversations with people who, like Mark Bailey's talked about his fucking backup generator failing after the first one failed and all sorts of shit. Like, there's a lot of things people don't understand and know what people like yourself and other experienced keepers have gone through. There's nightmare situations that have gone down with the success that you guys have
definitely.
But that's what builds the character,
And it's all hard. It's all work, and that's another thing, this is a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. And people think that this is so easy. And, we're not selling a dream because I'm living this. I'm doing the rodents and the snakes full time. So I'm living it. So we're not selling a dream here. It's possible, but it comes with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of work also.
Well, man, like I said, this was an amazing podcast. I appreciate you. We just had shy of 80 people tonight, on a Thanksgiving night. That's awesome. People knew where to watch.
What's your average about?
Don't ask me those numbers right here, bro. Come on. That don't matter, Kyle. You had 80 people. That's great. All right.
I mean, I don't care if I had one.
Listen, what do you have to say to all the love and support out there? Like everyone out there just who's been a fan of you, because you've had a lot of love in the live chats, a lot of people who've been writing with you. But what do you have to say to all of them, man?
I just want to thank everybody that, for buying the animals from me and believing in me and taking some of my animals and being successful with them also. I want everybody, that's the biggest thing. I don't want people to fail with my animals, because that's what this is all about, is, like I said, helping people. When people are successful, they come back to buy more from you. If they don't trust you, or if you give them bad animals, they're not going to come back to you.
But dude, that right there is everything.
And I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody. Even, people that I don't even get along with, some of them kind of motivated me a little bit to do some of the things I did. And that's what got me here now too.
Oh my God.
So I can love haters too, man. I can
have to. This has been my big dude. You want to know what fuels me? Someone who wants to see me fail. Somebody who's waiting. You have people out there who they think it's going to happen any moment now. And they'll sit there and they'll be your biggest fan thinking you're going to fail. But guess what? You keep shutting them up by fucking not giving up. Just don't give up. Even when times aren't even great in your life, show up, be a professional, and don't fucking give up. Because all they want to see is weakness. They want to see you hurting and going through shit. And if you don't give them that, and if you just show up and put in the fucking work, you're unstoppable. And that's kind of what you've been doing in a sense. You're just working, bro.
Yes.
So, Kyle, listen, Kyle, thank you so much. For anyone out there to be on top, if anyone out there wants to be on top of what you have available and all that, what's the best way? Is Instagram best way? Facebook? How do people stay on top of your
MORPH Market is pretty much, where I put everything, and I post my clutches as they hatch and as they eat a few times, because some of the more expensive animals, you have to get them started anyways. And I don't want to put up 20 clutches in one day. So like if I hatch a clutch, I post, after they shed, after they eat a couple meals, then I post them.
Well, awesome. I'm going to put that link in the description below. His Instagram link's already down there, but I'll put your MORPH
Instagram will also take you to my MORPH Market account, because my MORPH Market is linked into my Instagram too. So,
all right. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to our round 2 someday. I appreciate you so much. But guys, do me a favor. Give my man Kyle Hoffman, Royal Ambassador Reptiles, a big what up, ladies and gentlemen. Good job.
It'll be a 3-year wait.
We'll see him in 3 years, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Kyle Hoffman. Hey, bro. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you on the flip side. I'll see you later. Thank you, man.
Thanks. Bye.
What a great episode. What a cool guy. Unique individual. I like people who just have so much knowledge and information that they are not scared to let it out. And that was Kyle Hoffman. That was fucking epic. Definitely an episode I'm re-listening to tonight. I ain't even going to wait till tomorrow. Tonight. So if you out there enjoyed tonight's episode, appreciate everyone tapping in on a Thanksgiving evening. You guys know where to be. Coolest reptile podcast in the world, and that's a fact. But this is your first time hanging out with me and the Trappers. Hit that subscribe button, please. I'm really trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. If you'd like to help me with that mission, please hit that subscribe button. And then if you want to be on top of every podcast I drop here on this channel, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, I do not miss. Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. Hit that notification bell, select all. You'll be notified for every podcast. Mondays, new breeder on the block. Tuesdays, all up in the tree with my co-hosts, Marshall Mendez and Bill Stiegel. You guys know who we're bringing Tuesday for the first guest? Any guess? I know my Patreon members know. I know some people know. Greg Maxwell, baby. That's right. Greg Maxwell again and again and again. It's the guy who wrote the book. Are you kidding me? Greg Maxwell, episode 418, happening Tuesday. All right? Do not forget this man right here, happening Tuesday night with my road dogs, Bill Stiegel, the mayor of Chondrotown, and Marshall Mendez, Red Mountain Herbs. It's going to be an epic time. All right? Speaking of epic, before that, we have my man Jonathan from Golden Boy Reptiles. This fool right here, he's quiet, but he flex texts all day, every day. He has put me on to a lot of projects that are taking off for me right now. So I give this guy so many props. And I'm stoked to finally bring this dude to the platform. New breed on the block series, Monday, Golden Boy Reptiles. This guy has heat. And of course, my road dog, Emilio Villarino, right there beside me, ready to rock the show as always. Shout out to the V Unit family. Shout out to all my trappers, my Patreon members. If you're looking for exclusive content, if you want to support me, what I do, more than just watching, if you want to network yourself with some real deal passionate keepers, longevity relevant keepers. Go down to the very first link in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you get a link to the Discord. That will tap you with over 185 trappers. Also get connected to the IG group chat that's cracking. Zoom meetings every Sunday with the V Unit family. It's nonstop interaction, nonstop networking, nonstop growth. All right. I'm in search for anyone out there who wants to do this for the long run. Come join us. Trap Talk Patreon family is the best. I love you guys. Have a good night. I'm so thankful for all you guys, even the ones who just can't stand me, but still watch my show. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys all have some sort of influence from the people who hate me the most to the people who love me the most. You guys have a huge influence on my life, my motivation, my energy, my drive. So thank you. I'm so thankful to you, but nothing I'm more thankful for than my wife. I love my wife. I love my son. I love my family. I love the people who just fire me up the most. And those are the people I just mentioned. And I'm going to get to them right now. I love all you guys. I got to go. I'm about to really have my Thanksgiving dinner now. Mind you, my plate was very minimal because if I would have went ham before this podcast, even though we didn't have ham, we had prime rib, but if I would have went ape shit on some Thanksgiving plates, I would have went to sleep. So I sacrificed that for you guys. Now I'm going to go handle my shit. Hey, have a good night. I'll see you guys here Monday, new breed on the block. But thank you so much, Kyle Hoffman, Royal Ambassador Reptiles. Episode 416. That's a wrap. Have a good night. Cheers.